how to use all of these machines. And if you choose, can we come up here, please? Okay, well, that's what I'm getting ready to do here. I'm going to take this off, please. And you spectators are welcome to spectate closer. Just keep your comments to yourself. Okay. What has not happened and what you will have already done is open the polls on this thing. When you open even the Duo, you're going to get a short strip. This, by the way, does not print vote totals. It only will print at the end of the night how many people used the machine, okay? And so we get this, and the ballot counter is 3. That's how many during the week we've put through here. I can show them to you. They're laying here somewhere because we've made these up. And lifetime, they've only had 77 in this machine. We don't get eaten up with people that use this. I'd recommend you use it if you get a chance to vote your own ballot. This is my favorite piece of equipment that we have because it's inspiring to watch someone who might come in here, and I always think of Duncan Holmes, who comes in blind and comes over here and can vote and vote accurately. And what he uses is this machine. If you look carefully, you'll see there's Braille on here. I can't read Braille, but there it is, okay? And this, I'm going to show you as soon as we take the next step. But it's like a video game, okay? And this is the recording, and we had to verify every word. Not every sentence, because if you find the word court, you only have to do it one time, even though it might be in multiple things. And Alan and I sat at the computer, and the word would come up, and they'd pronounce it. Yes, the whole blooming thing. So there's always verifications that take place. It's actually kind of fun to be official there. So you're going to get a voter that says, I need to use the machine. And by the way, you don't have to be handicapped. You can vote on this. Anybody can vote on this if they'd like. But it's ready for you sitting as it is. So now I've got a voter coming over here, and it's ready for use. You will have on the back of your name tag, you will have this code. If you saw a badge out there with name tag numbers on the back, those are from previous elections. They change every election, okay? The poll worker code for this one I have here. You have to a certain point, manage this machine. So let's see, what's it want? It wants the poll worker code. For right now, it's a simple one. It'll come up. Now again, if you're blind, you're listening to this. It says activate the ballot. Or maybe, forgot to punch that. This one's set up for early voting, so every precinct's available. At your precinct, only your precinct would come up. Let's see, what do we have here? We got 9 and 8, and we'll go to 9. Whoop, go back down a little bit. Get it completely, well, we're going to go to 8. You don't usually work it like this. You're able to sit right in front of it. So we have precinct 9, selective teal. We have that. We know the voter. The ballot slip that they got shows that, and we'll say okay. And if I've got Duncan here, and Duncan will come in here and say, where's Jim? We've been doing this so many times together. And we'll come over, and I'll say, okay, Duncan, it says precinct 8. He'll say to me, that's wrong, but for today he's there. Is this correct? Yes. And then we give the voter, that's how it's going to show up when we're done. one. Here it is. We're going to give the voter one of these. Now let me tell you about these. This is a thermal type of paper. Once you get to this point, you've got to sign it. Okay, and you sign it below here. There is in your box a little explanation of this and reminding you how to sign it. And then you number it. In this case, it would be precinct 8-1. The next one's precinct 8-2. If you want to just say P8, it doesn't matter as long as you are consistent and I can then recognize where it came from. Do not mark between the two black spots. So you're going to give him the paper. You're going to say activate the ballot. To get started, touch here, and from this point on, look what I'm doing. Okay? So I can move that and insert the paper. I'm showing you slowly. Again, it doesn't, you'd think it'd just take it in there, but it doesn't. Give it a second. That's all the further it goes for now. But it will tell you, and right now he's hearing the sheet. Duncan can load this thing himself. Okay, we're talking a very accomplished blind fellow. I'll tell you my funny story about Duncan. He wanted me to take him to the airport. My flight's at 7 in the morning, Jim. You'll need to pick me up by 5 o'clock. Okay, it was November. And so I go over to his apartment. I pull up outside, and of course it's pitch black. And I'm thinking, well, he's not even up. I go to the door to knock, and I realize there's one light on there. Come on in, he didn't need the lights on. Okay. So anyway, so it's inserted, and then what you'll do, and we won't do it with the ears just in the interest of time, you're going to go down there until you light up that next. See it?
But Jim, you can also do it by touch stick.
Yes, I understand that. So does he want to change settings? Duncan always says, well, let's check the sound, Jim. Well, and I'm not going to do this now, but if you hit that, you can raise and lower the sound. It's just, again, a pretty intuitive thing where it's logically, but we're going to go straight to voting. And again, it'll ask you, are you ready? Was that a question you were starting? Okay. You're going to say begin voting, and his first is president. And we have been, in the interest of fairness, either voting for Jill Stein or Chase Oliver in this. But he sits there and he'll hear, all right, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, and he's just moving it with his finger. And who's Jill Stein? Yeah, I can hear him now. Of course, I wouldn't answer that. Because at this point, I've stepped away from him. Okay, you should be able to do that. You shouldn't have to look over someone's shoulder. We'll talk about making sure how you handle an assistant. But anyway, let's keep moving. So we're going to pick Chase Oliver.
You can even do a write-in on that, too.
Yes, you can go to the bottom, and you can enter write-in, and then you can dial it up. Let me address write-ins. You have in your box copies of the write-in list. There's an official group. Any other write-ins won't count. You will notice when you print your final tape, all of those signatures are seen. So that they print on the tape every write-in so that we can verify it here. Yeah. So, but we're going to cancel and go back.
We can have enough tape?
Absolutely.
Actually, that's a good point. We'll put it
No, I seriously.
No. We'll put in an extra one. I'll put that on the map.
So we're going to vote for Chase. And as was just said, from this point on, I can use these if I'm a cited voter. And I'm going to go Ted Brown. I'm going to vote for Kristen Hook. I'm going to vote for Christy Craddock. I'm just going to kind of keep myself going through here. I'm tired of voting, so now I'm just going to start skipping them. Okay, oh, I did want to vote for that one. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to vote for that. And I really like Lucy. She might not get another vote, so I better vote. Sarah's my lawyer, so I'm going to do that. And 25 of 25, skip. Now, by the way, because we picked the proper precinct, Charles Olfers came up. He's only on 3 precincts ballots, 1, 8, and 12. And so now that he can review his choices, he can move and it'll talk to him what he's chosen. You can do the same thing here. You can return to the ballot and make a change. All of this is available. And I'm just telling you, I know I'm going fast with this thing. To watch somebody on this that really needs to use it is an inspiration. It truly is. They made the effort to come in here and go through the laborious process of doing that. So now we're going to say, and watch this paper, we're going to say print. It's going to ask you twice. You sure you want to print it? And you can dial it to there as well. Now watch this. Because it's going to act like it's burping. Oops, I didn't want that. I don't know why it does that, but it does that. And then it's going to come out up here. There's the ballot. If you have someone who's blind and they have an assistant, they can verify that. Hey, Duncan. You know, and Duncan always has somebody with him. Duncan, it looks exactly like you meant to. Okay, you trust the guy? And it's voted in the scanner where we're going to go next. Before we go away, though, you can see where this provides a voter an opportunity that in years ago was nearly impossible. Okay? And now, if we printed this again, it would say 4, but it wouldn't say one word about this. It only prints the choices of the deal. That can read the code that is part of this. And now you're ready for the next thing. The next voter, you go through the same process. You acted like you had a question.
Question statement. So when we're bringing these up and the tape comes out, so my first request to you is I'd like a copy of that tape so that we can put it in the book.
Right.
It needs to be signed by the judge and the alternate judge.
Right.
And then you print another copy, sign it, and then
Right.
a third copy and sign it. We do it both opening and closing with both machines.
Right.
And then there's a vertical folder that you just put those.
And you'll just simply have to use what we've already done as an example because I can't close this when it's set up for early voting.
Right? Is that an opening tape?
Yeah, you can have this one.
Yeah, I want the
But my point is, this is set up for early voting, and we don't close the polls even in rehearsal with that because early voting doesn't close its polls until Election Day. We do what's, we hit, there's a blue button on the back, and we put it on pause, basically. So you can see why I like this machine, right? I mean, this thing does for us some very wonderful things, and your experience with this will be terrific. Yes, ma'am.
Question, you said anyone could use this machine if they wanted to, but is this just the Braille, or is it the hearing? Is it also?
No, you saw I did most of it here. I don't even have to pick that up.
Well, I was just asking who else would request to use this?
So some people that just,
Some people,
some people just want to.
Yeah, anybody, whether
Well,
they have a disability.
yeah.
I was just wondering, so there's no, when people come in and check in and they can make a statement that this is the.
they would like to use the Duo to cast their ballot. They know that they can then review it. They can see what it was, what it's been done. And if you read one of these things, you can pass these around. You'll see that it tells them no selection. It tells them what their selection was. In the case of this one, we picked an HISD school board, and it shows that this person only voted for 2. They could have voted for 3, but whoever did this that night, well, it was me, only picked 2 just to show. So this thing is good for folks.
What if somebody prints it and then they said, oh, I didn't mean to do that? Can you spoil these ballots and have them do it again?
Actually, no. This one is set that, no, wait a minute. No, I could spoil that ballot, yes. Yeah, we can spoil it just like any other and start them over. They have the opportunity to review it, and unless they're just voting, have no other issues, most of the people that use this have an assistant that would review with them. Duncan has a guy that, well, there are 3 different guys now that help Duncan. He's the best example. We'll have 25, 30 or more that'll vote.
So a good example of who else might use this is, I think both Betty and I ran up in this situation where we ran out of ballots. So my last 10 or 15 voters
Had to use
had to use this to cast their
yeah,
votes.
in the primary.
So how do you get the paper with the arrow again?
Oh, those are provided in,
It's provided.
yeah, that's part of the ballots when you pick them up. You'll get them in a white envelope with the explanation on it. You'll get 10. If you find you're starting to use them, we make a run out with more of them. We haven't had that happen except when we did have the shortage. The primary, I guess, they didn't order enough ballots, and so we went with these. But they're nothing but paper until you activate them.
And he doesn't sign them until
We're fixing to use them,
we're
right?
Fixing to use them,
Like,
right.
you get 1 or 2, and you know, so you can go ahead and sign, and we'll know.
Yeah, they're-
Precincts.
So-
Most of the time, we get 10 blank ones back. No, it's not signed. Yes, Linda.
So on the other side, there's not gonna be anything here except the judge's signature, and then up here, you said precinct date,
No, the way I do it is just my precinct number.
precinct.
You would have precinct 3 dash, yeah,
Okay, just that 3-1 is all that would go up there.
right,
Okay.
right. So, you know, this is I think it's a cool machine. And if you want to, before you leave tonight, if you want to come over and try it again, by all means, we will leave it up. The other machine over here is a little bit different. Where's that gray bag? Okay, here's where I'm going to start at the bottom. This is where the Jim Riley principle of safe balloting comes in. You're going to get a chance to put one of these together. This is the finger pincher. You got to be careful with this thing. But once you put it together, it's this box. This locks into the top, and we're going to show you all of that. This is fully set up. Again, we'll open the polls. If you'd hand me that notebook, please. Oh, there that distant marker is. This is what sits on top of that. Yep. So, now you'll see that the printouts here are a lot longer. But because of the setup, none of the totals are on here because it's set up for early voting. Your strip will come out and you'll have specifically this many for each of the candidates, this many write-ins. You'll then have, it'll show you which write-ins there are. And the beauty of that is your precinct totals are set at the end of the night. And when you come in here and check in, and we take the, I'm going to do it this way. That's where that red thing will be, by the way, locking this in. This is key locked in, and inside there is the V drive that has the election on it. Don't open it. But when you get back, this is opened by Bill Briggs and Sarah Fontenot. Bill Briggs is the Republican Central Count judge, and Sarah is the alternate judge. And we rehearsed today even how we're taking this in. This machine will come back, closed, sealed with a zip tie, and we'll show you all that in a second with that box. Or maybe this one, because I don't need it after tonight, over the weekend. So you're set up, you're ready to go, and you've now opened the polls. The Jim Riley procedure is to have it sitting just like I have it now. Not closed. I would have already put my seals here and here, though. Okay, you've got it. This is an emergency ballot slot. And let's say the power or this thing starts smoking or whatever might happen, and we need to bring you a backup machine. People can still vote. They can put them in here. The back door allows you to access the same bag that's in here. Can you see the bag? Okay. You can't get it back out this way. You can only take it out through the back door. And let's say it happens at noon and you're down for an hour while it takes Alan and I to get one ready and brought back out to you. Then you can retrieve those and vote it in the new machine. We would close this one out. We'd have a final count for that, but not the votes. We'd have a total of votes, but not the actual choices. Has happened, I think, one time matter of fact, I can't think of a time we had to replace one. But anyway, that's what this is for. So this will be locked by you. This is locked by you. This is standing open, and your first voter comes up, and I just make a show of it. Okay, I would say to them, is it empty? Okay, you're sure it's empty? You see any other in there? There's no little kids hiding in there, and I am not David, whatever that magician is. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to close it, and I'm going to put the other lock on there. Use the key. You have the key to this. Go ahead and lock it both ways. This machine, and then that voter votes. You're not going to open this again. Unless you get a huge turnout, this bag will hold somewhere between 1,600 and 1,700 ballots. We will know exactly how many once we've gone through 4 days of early voting. Okay, because during early voting, we will have to change bags out. We're expecting 16,000, 17,000. Over half of those will vote early voting, and we can't hold that many in that one bag. That bag would collapse if you tried to pick that up. And so what we do, just so you'll know, is I will say, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to stop for just a minute, make sure the line is as short as possible, and we will, in front of the world, read the number. Is that the number on the slip? Yes. Open it up, pull this out to here, immediately seal it. The next bag comes in. Is this bag also empty? Okay, good. It takes just about that long. And we carry that over with pomp, put it in the, lock it away. But it takes multiple bags for early voting to do that. So, where's that ballot? Did we bring it over here? I hope let's see what we've got. Just so you'll see if you haven't.
Looking for which one's 8. I don't know, there's 2 you had over there.
It's not the one with the Harper.
Okay.
It's that
Right.
one, I think. This one's got the Harper.
It doesn't really matter here either. And it will do that. Just trust it to eventually give me, aha. Now, notice something. This is last night's or the night before.
Oh, okay.
It won't accept it.
Oh, okay.
You don't get 2 bites of the apple. Let's try that one. Go ahead, Alan, you know how to do this.
And on these, as well as the others, it doesn't matter which side is.
Doesn't matter which side, up or down. Right. Now, that ballot is now lying in the middle of what will be a whole pile of the full-size ballots. If we have to, well, we don't have to, we will be doing the partial manual count. Every one of these bags has to be gone through to find the particular precinct, including that ballot. We would find it. And then this thing, we just keep voting on it until we close the polls. This one, the way we do it is at the end of every day, we power it down, park it in there. We've closed it up and parked it in there. And all we've done is put it in suspense because we are not totaling it.
It tells you right here how many ballots have been run through there. So you should be able to tell by your poll pad and this that you've got the same amount, you know, of the people that came in to sign in and the people that have voted. If everybody's on, and it,
And don't forget to get all 3 or 2 numbers off of all the poll pads, okay?
And Linda, you periodically do that during the day. And so a lot of times what's been scanned and how many people have checked in is off because there's people over there voting. So you gotta count,
All the
you gotta
bodies in
make-
the room
Yeah.
and, yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they-
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's typically, and when you have to write it on, because there's a form, you have to write it, that's at a minimum when you're double checking everything. 'Cause if you
Right.
But
wait
you
till
wanna
the
do that
end of
during the day,
Yeah.
so that you're up, and if you've got problems, then you gotta.
So where
It's
do the
easier
locks
to
go
find it.
again? I know my judge will know.
The locks go here, they go here, and they go on this back one here,
Oh, okay.
okay?
Same key goes everywhere, or?
Yes.
You said a key?
Yes, key
You have a key here?
here,
You don't-
and the key on the back is the same one. There's this one here.
Okay, gotcha.
The, one last thought, what was it, can't think of it, so don't worry about it. Okay,
So what goes on the top? What do you call it?
the emergency, yeah, this is just one of the wire locks.
The wire.
Yeah. Okay. This is what goes on here, and I want to show you a couple things about it. Because it's already 9:20 and we've still got to do some paper, I'm just going to kind of display this. Look how this kind of comes together. These are going to bend in. You're going to pull the floor up, but trust me that if you can at least you ladies will follow instructions, it opens, okay? And so, but to put it away, you've got to grab the floor. I did it one-handed, you want to do it too, and you're going to pick that up. This is where you can pinch yourself, so be careful. Oh, before I do that, let me show you the other thing. And then putting it back out, we will fold it all the way away. Hit that floor, grab that floor and just drop it down. Okay. Because you're going to take the back and you're going to put this machine on it. You've got the 4, 5 little rubber feet that match up with these 5 holes, okay? See these guys here? They're going to lock in, and I'm going to show you how. Otherwise, you could just pick this up off of there, and you don't want to be able to do that. Did I hit it on my first try? I don't very, did I?
It's the wrong direction. You're facing backwards.
That won't work. No.
There's a sign right there.
Yeah, I'm facing the wrong way. Who runs this department? How about that? Now, I could pick that back up off of there, but see this little stringy thing? You just reach underneath it and pull it to the back, and now you'd have to pick the whole thing up, okay? And in order to take it off, you pull it back out this way, okay?
So Jim, when we store this, really it's only the front that we get in.
So we're going to take, I want you to take everything off of it every time. All the locks, please. Save me the trouble of doing it, really. So you've now voted. You've closed it up. You said, whoops, I didn't do that, so now I got to release this. You grab here. See, this has got a kind of a multiple hinge. And just pick up there, and that'll drop. Okay? You're going to grab the floor. You're going to start bending it in. Make sure everything that should be in there is not. See these things? If you kind of lift them this way, kind of just lift them up, they'll go over. Okay? You got 4 of these babies, 2 on each side. I will tell you, it's a whole lot easier if you just do it this way. And then, the hardest part of it all hadn't been done. These little tiny rubber things, they just drive you bloomin' nuts. See the little, and this one's loose here, but it's not so loose there. You got to pull it up over this little metal thing right here. And I can't do it one-handed. You could. Kind of just do what that is and
That's what I was thinking of.
use what?
A crochet hook.
Oh, good idea. Good idea. So you're going to hook all 3 of these eventually. You're going to make sure these are all like that. Hold on to that, please. And then somebody grab that and just drop it. Oh, you're going to do it? You got it on the back end. There you go. And this is the way it comes back to us. And it's protected and it's ready to go.
And I assume this is what it looks like when I pick it up.
You'll pick it up just like that.
Okay, so this is gonna get picked up on
Friday.
Friday.
This would be on Friday, not the machine, but this bottom part.
Okay, this bottom part will.
Right.
And the stand for that will also.
Right. The legs over here,
Is it gonna fall?
maybe. We'll see. What do you think?
Okay, and then when does that
How about that? All right. We've got 35 minutes. We're going to take this as far as we can into your box. And here's how we're going to do it. Oh, you got to do this together. 3 of you ought to be able to pull this off. I'm going to read a problem, and I want you to solve it. Okay? Everybody got it in front of them? You're the judge, precinct 4. You're in the new Klan room, November 5, 2024, and you have received the following ballots, number 561 through 1557. You show on your scanner that you have checked in 456 voters. Okay? You voted 3 provisionally. How many unused ballots should you have? And before you go any further, what information is missing?
You have 997.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll give you a clue. Mr. Weinheimer would know the answer.
How many unused ballots?
Because the question's been asked.
Yeah,
What is missing?
not ballots right there.
So what's missing? What's the
Now you're guessing. I want somebody to say, Jim, you didn't give us
Well, that's what, I said 1, but that must be the wrong answer.
the what?
You didn't give us the number of the total number, you had to
We have an answer. What is it, Linda?
Spoiled ballots.
How many spoiled ballots are there? Without that number, you can't do the math. Would you like to know the number?
Yes.
Okay. There are 14 in this problem, 14 spoiled ballots. Now the math should come along. And let me just suggest to you, first of all, I should have had you pull these out. This is what you're using. Pull one out and use it. It's in the front. Ballot right there. One of the first two ones in your book. Now, the way to do that form is to put the known numbers down first. And it will take you right through it if you're careful and slow. And go ahead and write on it. Yep. Not on that one. No, I want to keep that one. Yeah. Keep that laminated one in there. I'm hearing accurate statements. This is good sound.
Wait a minute, how many ballots? The spoiled
The
ballots.
spoiled ballots are 14, put them back in.
Right. Why would they be added?
Well, you're gonna add these three together. You're gonna add.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Okay.
You're gonna add that together, this together, and that together. So that's
And doing this together is what you're going to have to do
470.
in your precinct.
Okay.
And then number of unballoted. So that would be, so if we had,
This is all the same, different names.
Okay.
we had 997.
Unused ballots.
So you have
Okay, so we have 541.
It'd be 524.
That's how many are unused
524.
at this
Correct.
point.
So number of unused ballots is 24. Then what you do is you add this, and this to come up with that, and that
That
should
should equal
be equal to that.
997.
Go ahead.
Yeah. That's 9, 10,
No,
11,
2, 5.
All right, we're getting close up here in precinct 9. How y'all doing in 13 back there?
And then you'd have 5 ballots issued over here. So you don't have any accounted for, you don't have any total number in there.
Time's up.
Okay.
All right, let's go for our answers. Everybody here. How many ballots did you have?
997.
Everybody got that? How do you explain that to someone, how you got that number?
You subtract one number from the other plus 1.
Right, it's called ballot math.
If you want to do it simple, you can illustrate it by saying you have 2 ballots. The first ballot is ballot number 0, the second one is number 1. How many ballots do you have?
2.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that, David. That's good. Ballot math is 1 minus the other plus 1. Because you've had both ballots. So 997 is accurate. Your second number should be correct. I gave that to you, right? I eventually gave you the third number and the fourth number. Okay, how did you get and what did you get for your total for unused ballots? We've got 524 here. What did y'all get?
What was the question?
Unused.
How many unused? What is this? We did 2 numbers.
528.
No, read the 2 numbers.
524 and 4.
And? Okay. Now, is everybody then finished?
No,
Why?
there's still,
Okay, because I haven't seen, I'm going to be, this is Jim Riley being picky. Nobody's put a name at the top. Nobody's signed them.
But you said
I said stop. You didn't make it in the time. Hey, I get a chance to be a jerk at times, okay? All of this would be filled at the top. Now, when you get this form from me, you will have the numbers at the top of the page. I will have already told you how many ballots you have. That top number will be done, okay? I'll tell you how you will get, and you will have a string top to bottom. You won't have multiples and this, that, and the other. We learned during the last 2 elections to take the ballot by mail off of the back end and go forward, or start in the end and go backwards. So if you have 200, we started with 200, 199, 198 for your ballot by mail. And then your early voting is going to start with 1 and go the other way. So it's that gap in between that you will get on your day of. And so you're not going to have to do math where you've got one section of this many and then one section of the other. So we will give you that first number. Now, everybody kind of did a little bit down that right side where it says supplemental. Here's what I want. Well, let me phrase it this way. As long as I can understand what you did, I'll take it. But what would be the easiest on me is you're going to have 10 at the top. Right now you have 5. How many ballots were voted on this problem? We had one voted. We had one voted. Indicate that either +1 or however you want to do it. That would be. But where is that ballot in your count on the left?
That ballot is over here on the.
It's in the scan number. It's already there. Yeah, well, it has to go in the scanner. Yeah. So it's there. You've already counted it. But now we have to account for these ballots in the supplemental. And the way you do that is just put a 1 right beside that 526 and then go down to the unused ballots and put 4 just out in the open column.
456.
456.
The top line B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
450s.
456.
456 and put a 1 out in the open spot, and then down at 524 put 4.
Okay.
When you check in, we'll take that on and it'll work. Okay.
Where's the scanner ID? Is that
Okay.
on the-
I will have put,
Will you have put that on there?
yeah, I got to get attention. I don't want to say these things 3 times. Everybody here. The scanner ID number will already be on there, and it is the number on the box. It's on the back. Your election title is general. Your location is wherever your precinct is. The date is going to be November 5, and then we'll have that. And then I will have written up in the top how many that you have as your starting ballots. So we got that. Everybody's done ballot math except Linda. Done one of these forms except Linda. So. Oh. Okay, we got three conversations going. I'm going to just demand that we respect each other.
So what were the correct numbers? So 456, 3, 14 is the number unused. We said 524 plus 4.
To the right, yes.
To the right,
That's
and
correct.
that was fine.
That was fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, what'd you have, Leslie?
I'm just wondering what we had 1 up above 456 plus 1.
Right. That's how we know where the ADA ballots went. 1 was used, 4 were not. Okay? So, on your next line in there is the chain of custody. Not your next line, your next file deal. It relates to the ballots. Because if you look at this, and this is filled out when you come in on Monday, okay? All of us in the office will have specific things we will be asking you to sign for. We will have the election name at the top, election date, the pickup date, and your precinct. Your poll pad number will be on there, and the seal, it will be sealed. You will verify that. We will put the seal number and the date we sealed it, because we'll do that before Monday. We then will sign it. Typically, I will sign there where it says election office, name, and so forth. So that's your poll pads. Below that is the Verity Duo and the Verity Scanner, the date we sealed it. The V drive seal number is the one you don't know until you open it up, and I'm not going to let you open it until you get it in the field, okay? And you will just go in there, look, oh, it is right, put a dot, put an initial. I did look at it. And you will know the suitcase seal, and again, we sign it. Now, I've gotten this far without telling you the top part of this is leaving here. The middle is what you do with it in the field, and the bottom third is what you do bringing it back. So don't try to fill the whole blooming thing out. You're just going to get the top, and then you're going to look and say, whoa, okay, the rest of this isn't filled out. What do I do with it? Go out there, set it up, and start writing it down, okay? Now, I've got as far as duo, blank, paper ballot, and so forth. We will also, on this sheet, put that down. We will put the paper ballot quantity down. We will give you the purple ballot bag seal number. I don't have any reason to seal it going out.
Yeah,
What's in it?
ballots.
Ballots are in the gray bag. We'll make a decision on that. If there's a seal number on it going out, there will be one coming back. But your ballots will be in your gray bag. And then I will sign it, and at that point, you will sign it, that all of this is confirmed. Oh, we're going to change that from purple to gray. Okay, that'll make much more sense. This is called Check Gym Night. Okay, and you will sign that. We will make a copy of this, and you take the original. Okay, you're not taking a copy. This is valuable. This is gold, y'all. Okay? Make sure, and you've got a spot to keep it where it won't go away. Okay, you don't have to throw it in that pizza bucket. You've got a slot you can put it in. Then you get out in the field, you grab some of these, put that together, lock it with a ballot box front seal, ballot box back seal, ballot box emergency slot seal, and sign it. Every time the judge signs, if the alternate would sign as well, or at least initial. Be consistent. So now you're set up. You're ready to go. The seals you took off in opening these up, you've put them, you can put them back in this green bag right here. Now, whichever one you are too lazy to open the red bag. And then you have a section here for replacement seals. If something happens out there where you have to open anything, you're going to have to put a seal back on it. Okay? I'm not going to throw out scenarios. If it happens, that's where you record it. Okay, most of us will bring that back blank. You didn't have to open it up. And then we get to returning it to me. So now you've closed it down. You've done all those things. You've got a gray bag seal number. You've got the purple seal number, the orange seal number. You have now put a new seal on your poll pad printers, and you've put new seals on your Duo and your scanner, and you sign it, and your alternate signs it. Do not sign the bottom. Okay?
You don't have to put the serial number back in there, do you? On that,
Yeah, because you have to know which seal's attached to which.
You put the seal number.
you only have one poll.
Yeah, we're not calling for the serial number.
Yes, yeah, everybody's got two because you said you wanted one for the curbside voting.
Oh, yeah, match those up. The seal number does go on it, but it's a short number.
Okay,
It's like one,
okay,
Right.
yeah,
they're simple
okay,
little numbers.
okay.
Now, when you come in, that ballot total and this one are the first two that we will work with. I'll talk about checking in out here. When we are done, the original we keep, but you will get a copy for your pink envelope. We'll make it That'll be the last thing you do when you're done. It'll be handed back to you. It will have been signed by either Bill Briggs or Sarah Fontenot that all of these things meshed. They were there. Some of them we found out in the hallway. Some of them we found in here. And it's all good to go. That's what you want, is one of these that's just there and ready and done, okay?
What's the suitcase serial number?
Suitcase, you're going to put one of the zip ties on it. The suitcase, this, we're calling this the suitcase. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Questions about chain of custody on these items here? Any? Almost everything goes with these 2 pages that makes things, as long as I get a ballot bag full of ballots. Because we can track most things from this. Most problems can be solved by starting with this. Okay? We get to that. Okay.
Can you explain how to lock the pole pad suitcase?
The poll pad?
Suitcase?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. You're going to put a zip tie around the handle on that and a zip tie around the handle on this. If you put a zip tie handle around this, you're still able to open this. So you don't zip tie the handle. See these little holes right here? That's where your zip tie goes through. 1 or 2, if you want to have fun. Put a 3rd one on here, it doesn't matter. But these are the ones that you want to have, okay? Yeah. And, yeah, there's only space to write down 1. That locks the case, okay? And while I'm have got this up here,
The pole pad suitcase. The pole pad suitcase. It says pole pad on here, I think. So it just says pole pad seal number, but it says the suitcase seal number for the Verity Duo and the Verity
Oh,
Scan.
okay.
As opposed to the V drive, which has both of them. So we were trying to differentiate. We thought we'd call them Mary and Alice, but we didn't think anybody would know who that was either. So it was just a naming. If you can come up with a better naming technique, we'll do that next time.
couple of quick tips when you are packing this up that help. Number 1, put the screen to the top of the case so that nothing is hitting the screen. This part of it, that is the top of the stand that you've put your pole pad on, and you see it's got these locks to lock it in the back. When you take that off to put it away, if lots of people just drop it in trying to fit things in, open it all the way up, drop it right in the middle of the hole, okay? You've split this cord because it goes one to the other. Put one on each side. And the way to do it, of course, is like I wanted to do. Put that in first. I will undo this later. And put this in second. And then this, do not put it in flat side up. No. Yes. Because if you put it in there, it's going to hit here. Or if you've got it improperly stacked here, it's going to hit here. And this little protective plastic case can get broken. You put it flat side down and it drops in completely below the level of your foam. Okay? If you have any questions about that, take a picture of it as you take it out. Huh? Yeah, come on over here now. And, by the way, you have a booklet in your stuff that shows you how to do this. Oh, you got me in focus. Fuzzy pickle.
And the
Okay,
cords are
now you
now
wanna put it in
inside.
there correctly?
Yeah, you're going to put it in.
That
See,
way?
it's,
Oh, you said not?
no, this is below the
So he
deal.
said don't put it flat
If you
side.
put it here, it,
Oh.
yeah, and,
Oh, I thought you said do put it there, all right.
no, like that.
Well, I'm glad I clarified that, because I would've done it opposite.
This guy just sits here, your white cord goes down in there, that's obvious. And,
And the cords are now,
yep, I'll pull those out and show you in just a second. And then you lock here. if you look at this thing, since I have this off, I can show you. That's where your power cords go. For I don't know how long. Alan, were you the one that found this first? We were hauling the power cords around just in our, you fold your power cord up, put it in here. Same thing on that one, okay? You have to use your key, and that's the keys that we've shown you, to put this in and set it up. And if you don't lock it in, it won't work. It's just a little thing that pushes in and triggers inside the case of the deal. Now, we've left, golly folks, there's a lot to an election. The beauty of what we've given you is some of what we haven't covered. I'm going to try to cover some more before we're done. Will be on this final video, okay? But every form, I'll use mine as an example. Every form you have in here all of them have the laminated in theirs, not in mine, right? Okay. Every form, like the list, and then I pick up one that has the laminated. Okay. Like the list of indicated ID voters. You've got a laminated deal, and on the back of it is the explanation of the form. I want to highlight a few of them. Looking in the front of yours, we went over the chain of custody. We went over the official ballots. The next one is a checklist. We're not going to review the checklist, but y'all, you are wasting your time trying to memorize this. Use it. Use it. You will be so relieved to not be sitting there thinking, what did I forget? It's right here. This has gone through 200 revisions, maybe more. Every time we've met, we've talked about how to do this. And Charlotte has created this for us. By the way, on the back of it, if you haven't used it, you're still going to have to sign for it. I will know what kind of judge you are by whether or not you have used this form. Okay? And you can lie to me, just like the poll watchers do that come in and tell me the guy individually signed it. No, they don't. You can just go in and mark through, sign it, and I'll believe that you actually did that. But I can promise you this will make your life better. It has everything the voting booths should have been delivered and possibly set up, place of booths where they should go, everything's here. Just go down through the list, and all of a sudden you're going to look back and say, I've got an election location set up.
One of the important things is this is not necessarily a linear list. You had to slice and dice. So how to set up the polling places are in place. It's not until you get to page 2 that talks about the scanner and the scanner box, but you may want to get that done fast and turn it on and then wait for the rest of it while it's warming up. So what I do, I actually assign different clerks to do different things.
If it's for me, take a message.
So that works. It's
Take
not
one of these home with you.
This process.
Take your copy home with you of this. By the way, you can take any form out of this box and take it home with you. That's not laminated. Right.
But there will be a change to
So whatever you change,
this.
you'll replace?
Yes. Well, these are training boxes. These aren't your boxes.
Yeah, these are just boxes to work with. Your box is sitting in there ready to go. Okay, next one, the statement of compensation. You do read the oath at the top with your clerks. The fact that they sign it is not enough. You, at the beginning, or every time you get a new clerk coming in the middle of the day, you read the oath. They swear to that. And then, name, address, social security number, at least the last 4 digits. Remember, if they register with us, we have that. They sign it, the hours they worked, from 6:30 to noon or 6:30 to 8:30 that night, and the total hours. Do not go beyond total hours. I will put the rate of pay. I will finish this out. Kit and I together then will give one big packet of stuff to the HR, and they love that. And then they go in, by golly, every one of these are people in the system, boom. Okay, we don't lose a judge that way. So that one, and then the next thing is the closing checklist. So put those two in your pocket with you tonight. Go through that. Let me highlight reasonable impediment. I'm not worried about power outage. That's self-explanatory, opening and closing tape. But reasonable impediment, I don't have one in mind. Let me borrow one. You're going to get more than one of these.
What is that?
The reasonable impediment. It begins with this explanation, y'all. If a voter signs, they are signing under a threat of perjury. When they sign that poll pad, when they sign this, you're not the detective to go out. And this document, bless its little heart, you can't really argue with them. Okay? Let me explain what we do with this. At the top it says, person subject to persecution for perjury. By signing this, I swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the information is true. My reasonable impediment is due to the following reasons why they don't have a photo ID. Lack of transportation. They may have rolled up in a limousine with a chauffeur. You can't argue with them. They had lack of transportation. Or any of these other lists, family responsibilities. They declare it, they sign for it, you have to accept it. But not blindly. They have to bring one of the things at the bottom with them, a copy of a birth certificate, a current utility bill, not one from 3 years ago, a bank statement, a government check, a paycheck, those kinds of things. So you've at least identified them to the best of your ability. Okay? You fill this out completely. It goes in the back in the slot, and they get a regular ballot. Okay? Yes, you check them in just like a regular voter. I wish I had. You're right. I wish I had a way of telling you that there was a different.
How do you check them in on the poll pad? Just type the name in?
Yes,
Is that what you
yes. I didn't show you. You either scan or do manual entry, and you should find them, but they still have got to show this. You'll get one or two at the most, typically, but you'll get them. Where is it? I left it in my car. Okay, there's your car. Go back out and get it. Okay, it's at home. Okay, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll be here till 7. Let me say something about that. If you've heard them say something, you can't unhear it. Yeah, we just moved here from Kerr County last week and I want to vote. By golly, it's too bad. I heard you say you moved from Kerr County. Okay, you just can't unhear things in the interest of being fair and whatever. I'm sorry, but you have to go back down and vote in Kerr County. It's this kind of thing requires them to do it. And you know, lost or stolen. They may have had their purse stolen 2 days before this. I mean, there are reasons that, okay, I'm sounding like I'm coming down on these folks. There are reasons. You have to accept them. They vote. You check them in on the poll pad. So there's that document. Yes, ma'am.
If somebody is marked with an I, which means ID is required to be shown, can we still do a reasonable impediment? Because there's still no ID that's been shown.
You mean for the one that doesn't even have an ID there?
Yes. So
Okay.
if they're marked with an I on the poll pad,
Right.
they have to show.
The only thing that means is that in their registration, all along the line, they have not once shown a photo ID to the Secretary of State, to the driver's license, or someplace where their photo ID was. As soon as they show it to you, that has been met, you just enter their name on the list. But in this case, if they haven't done it, no, you just don't put them on the I. They still haven't shown the photo ID.
So we can still fill this out, and we just don't fill out the voter ID.
Right, right.
What list, if there's a voter ID list,
Yeah, voter ID is back at past envelope 3.
Okay.
And all that is really is somebody that's registered by mail, nobody's ever seen them, and if they show you a proper one, indicate it, and we'll do that. We'll take those forms, and we'll go into the computer, indicate that the ID has been shown, okay? But they got registered otherwise. Leslie?
Well, I'm just curious about one thing, is like when we register voters and they don't have, they'll come up to us, and the reason that they don't have a driver's license, or, one that can be used, they're moving from out of state, in-state.
They have to come to us.
And that's what I did.
Yeah, as a deputy voter registrar, you can't deal with any of those off things.
But we've always said, we are just registering you to vote, but we are not certifying, or that happens when you go to the polls.
Right.
And you check in there. If you haven't met this, or if you don't have something in your hands, we're taking you at your word, but they're gonna prove it at the polls.
Yes, well, the form you bring in to me, no, wait a minute, let's understand something. That form you bring in when you've registered somebody at a church or a function, and you've signed for them, you have certified them, they will be shown on the record as because you should have seen the ID.
No, I saw all the information to make, but I said, this is complicated enough that I think your best bet is to go over to headquarters.
Yeah, if it's complicated, send them over and we'll let Alan spend some time on it. Oh, I didn't know you were awake back there.
So are you talking about as your role as deputy?
Okay,
As a deputy registrar, I've always been told that we are not certifying.
you do the easy ones, we'll do the hard ones. How about I'm going to add that to the training for the deputy voter registrars. Moving along, jumping past envelope 3, statement of residence, we will get tons of these. This is your voter that pops up under suspense. Mostly what has happened, and that's what you would say, don't try to do the Columbo and find out specifically what happened. Mostly what's happened is we sent them mail, particularly the yellow card, and it came back. Okay? They will then fill out the statement of residence. That comes to our office. We will update their residence, and it moves on. It is that simple. Well, I don't know what it could be. I'm not sure what it could be either, sir, but if you'll fill this out, we can get you a ballot and move on. Don't worry about the omissions list today. Envelope 4. We talked about spoiled ballots, canceled ballots by mail. We talked about the alternate judge. The alternate judge. It is getting late. How many of these have we done now? This is number 4. Too many? Is that what you said? The judge gets a pink envelope. We thought, why not have the alternate have an envelope? So there's your envelope for your slips and stuff right there, and anything else you do. There's a sample ballot will be in yours. The voting locations, so that if they come to you and they're in the wrong spot, you can tell them where to travel. Do know that I was careful on what I just said there. By the way, on our website, the list of polling locations, there's a link that takes them to the map that shows that. And when we get all of Kit's photos taken, they will actually even be able to see a photo of that. What's Herman's Hill? Well, there'll be pictures of it so that they'll know what that is. Kit's been working on that now for several weeks, and it's coming together. Combo forms, I think, understand that. And then there's the judge's handbook will be in there. The list of write-in candidates. We talked about the emergency management plan. And then in the back here is the supply list. If you're going to stay tonight, you would take this supply list. There is a supply list that says trolley. If you're not going to stay tonight, I'm hoping. Did I say that out loud? If you want to do this tonight, you're welcome. It takes a while for me to get out of here. And you can go through that and let us know what might be missing. Otherwise, just call in and we'll set up a time for you to come in and go through it before November 1.
But having said that, the polls haven't been updated since the hand counting, so we know some of the stuff isn't in it, the styluses and things like that.
Okay. Any specific questions? I want to kind of wrap this up. because I promised you 9 o'clock and we're 2 minutes beyond that.
On the combination forms, those are in here just in case you need them.
You do need them for provisional voters.
Well, there's, in the provisional voting
There is one in
section,
there.
there's one
Right.
in there. These are here just, just
If-
in case you should never ever need to do it.
What?
It's not in the purple envelope, the combination form for the provision.
No.
No, so if
No.
you go to your provisional ballots.
Yeah, if you just look in that slot,
All of this stuff in here,
Okay, I see.
everything you would
All right.
need.
Yes,
we didn't do the provisional ballot test tonight.
that's good because it's the most complicated.
So I have a request for the clerks. You wanted to know? what
Yes,
the training
for
is?
clerks.
So, you were playing with the poll pad. When they have them sign in, remind them to turn it around to them, and then they can tilt it to
Yeah.
make it easier.
Yeah, I've got, that poll pad instruction, I got that one. And tilting it, because I like to, a lot of these people like to sign it flat. You've got that function in there. It's a very functional tool. Other than that, I will tell the judges that beginning the first day of early voting, there's going to be a daily note from me with a reminder just to the judges. Hey, don't forget, Jim's tips or whatever we're going to call it. And we'll try to find a dad joke at the bottom. But just to remind you, not everybody got everything every night. Okay, we didn't talk about provisionals and the reasons why. Fortunately, you know them, and you got to learn them from scratch, and you know them. Well, don't give me that look. Maybe we'll talk. Okay, we'll talk. But if you look in your thing, everything, there's a PowerPoint printout of the. Yeah, this is provisional ballot, start to finish. It's in your box. And if you want to take the one out of here tonight, okay. But we'll take the time from this point on if y'all want. And remember, I've got all these clerk trainings in the next week. We've got 8 or 9 times. If you want to come to one of those and we spend some time after about a specific problem, I'll be glad to do that. Okay? Those. Useful? Yeah.
Okay.
Take it with you if you need it. Alternate judge can take any form out of this that they want, and if there's a copy I need to make. We're running late, but I'll keep going as long as you do. But thank you all for doing this for Gillespie County. I really, really appreciate it.
What I ran into with changing my address to 101 West Main,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember exactly what was going on, but it always set the clerk like, who are you and what are you trying to do? And
Is that a residence?
no, that's the courthouse.
Oh, but
There will be
when you were an officer of the law, yeah.
because you will have their trying to get all the deputies and their PD.
Yeah, we get those that call us, and we do. Yeah.
Okay, so you've done something in the system so that
Yes.
the poor clerk doesn't just,
Go fried? No,
Yeah.
no, we try to avoid that.
okay, so.
Yeah. Good point, though, because we have some people whose address is not out there.
And you need copies of a number of things. As an alternate judge, she's never done this before. So like another one of these, the judge, you said the judge
There's the, well, no, wait a minute. This is the one you want.
Okay.
The early voting ballot board you don't need. So moved. We be done. But I'm going to, in your planning, whatever you do not wait on this machine till close to 7 a.m. Because sure enough, you'll get 5 voters and they'll vote quickly and they're waiting for that machine. So we turn them on. They need a cup of coffee, espresso to kind of get warmed up, and then we'll be ready to use those. So we demonstrated to kind of just tell you do that. Now, it's on your checklist, and we're going to go over those. But I just want you to highlight this agenda just a little bit. But one of the items is that we are videotaping. And yes, sir. Did I not turn it on? Oh, yes. Well, this is too short a table. Let's have her sit with David and Leslie. Yes? Well, if I have one, no. No, y'all are working together. That's part of the reason we have this here. Share and share alike. Okay. Video, everything from this and the other 3 nights, we're going to kind of merge and try to have, for this election, a rough cut of everything we've taught. There will be no, I didn't know how to do it, and I couldn't find it, and I slept after Jim taught me how to do it. Okay? So you can do that. Probably be able to download it. Now, this is the rough cut. Okay? What we eventually will do is put it in little chapters, and we'll have a little tiny PowerPoint with it. But so that's, if you're, gosh, they've got a camera in there. That's our plans with the camera. And then I'm going to highlight a couple of things down here and start with number 6, the cell phones. I'm going to touch on 12 and 13 first, because those are maybe the 2 most critical documents outside of what is the most critical document. This is easy. The ballot. Okay? Everything is designed to have a voter take a ballot, fill it out, and it get lost in all the other ballots, but it counts. Okay, that's what elections are. And if we can do it in such a way that they feel comfortable with that, we've gone a long way to making folks happy. So, but there are forms you have to fill out. You don't fill out anybody's ballot except your own. And that's 12 and 13, the chain of custody and the ballot chain of custody. And tonight you will get to do a test with each of those. You're going to be graded on those, and you might win a sticker to take home. So, starting with 1 is, where is it right here? It's not number 1, but 6. And I say it because here we are. Some of us have our cell phones. They have them on. Tonight I don't care. But the judge, in your case, the both of y'all, is the only one in the room that can have their cell phone functioning. You know, if everybody has them off and they're in their pocket or their purse, that's fine. But that's the only person that can have that on. And that's the whole time. Now, if you replace him for some reason, then you get your cell phone. I say that to also say one of the things you post needs your cell phone number on it. Okay? Don't forget to do that. You're going to have a marker in your trolley that would let you do that, but you put your cell phone so that a drive-up person is able to call and you can go out. 99% of the time, that drive-up person's got somebody with them that's going to come in. Okay? But that one folk that just comes alone and can't get out of their car or whatever, you want to be able to give them the same service as everybody else. And by the way, that's the standard. Nobody's fighting it, but the law says that a drive-up voter should have the same access as the walk-in voters. And for most of the precincts in Texas, that's a very expensive thing that's happening because a lot of them don't have a poll pad that they're taking out, or the other things that they might, the duo, to carry a duo out is a big deal. So nobody's fighting it, but everybody's sort of saying, what do you mean? Do I have to buy, in our case, 13 duo carts and things to carry them out, and power packs and all those kinds of things? We're kind of lucky here. we will get 95% of the drive-up voters in this room. They all seem to kind of have figured out, if I go early, I've got that covered. There's going to be 3 marked spots out there with that phone number of that phone on top, and it's been working very well. We'll do 20 to 30, maybe 40 people during this one. It might be a lot more than that. We've ordered 18,750, ballots. They're locked away. That's not for each precinct, by the way. That's the total. It's about 85% of the voting, and we're figuring that 3/4 turnout to 80%, we've got it covered. We'll see if during early voting we have to add to that. Just so you'll know, in this case, and I'm going to make reference several times to the way it's done here, and you just extrapolate just a little bit out. We'll do that a little bit differently. They park out there. They call. We'll take a poll pad out, and we will be using here a belt printer here at this site. If it works out, then we're going to be moving toward that for all the sites. Instead of having to go out, do work, come back in and print their ticket, double check the ticket, go back, and it'll cut down on the trips out and back in order to do that. And it's just like, we go through Chick-fil-A or, one of those. It prints out the deal. But I can't go to the commissioners for a $450 item for everybody unless they really work out. So other than that, that's the agenda. Changes on the agenda. We're going to start at the top, and I'm not going to do anything but initially introduce the equipment to you. We're going to come back through and talk about it. We're going to use the Duo, and we'll use the scanner, and we're going to use the poll pad. Oh, it's on the floor. We'll pick it up. And so forth. Starting with the box on your table. Okay? You two will have to share this since you're 2 judges. But this is the heartbeat. Those of you familiar with the pizza box, that's what this is. Take the lid off of it. You can't mess it up. It's in training mode. We actually have each of yours is ready and in the office over there. So tonight, when I ask you to pull forms out and write on them, go ahead and do so. In any form, any one of y'all that you want to take home to study, the blank forms, by all means, walk out, particularly the ones you've used. Okay? I will say this about the forms. Every form in there has got an identifier at the top. It's either the Secretary of State or it's the Gillespie County Election Office. Every form has been approved by the Secretary of State. They have all of our forms. That doesn't mean they've endorsed them. The Secretary of State approves things you send in. To endorse them would be to recommend everybody use that form. That's not what they do. So the judge's box is really fun. If you look at it carefully, it's divided by sections like the envelopes. Okay, and so if you were to go in that first white section and go to the last white thing, you're going to find a white envelope. Right where your left hand is there, David. Exactly. I'm going to hit. The idea being, you don't have to take anything out of that except when you're using it. And when you've filled the form out, like let's say for a ID voter or something, you just put it right back in there. And at the end of the night, you put the lid on the thing. If you've signed them, if you've filled them out, I'm going to hit that. You'll hear that so often tonight, I don't know what you're going to do about it. But if you've done that, then you're ready to come here almost as soon as you close the polls. You don't have to leave them in that order. My thinking, if I were using this, and I wish we'd have had this when I was a judge, I would find once I got set up and going, I'd probably go get the ones I'm going to use and move them up in the front, because I may not use I don't need the alternate judge envelope until the end of the night. I don't normally need a registration omission list. And if you return it to us out of order, we don't care. We can read. Okay, we'd like you to do that, but we can suffice. And you don't have to pack them all in the proper envelope. We'd like you to do it, okay? But if you don't, we're going to fix that here. Whatever you do, don't make it a paper airplane. And by that I mean don't leave it unfilled out at the top and don't leave it unsigned. Okay? That's our biggest slowdown, is that you all haven't done your stuff in the field. So your pizza box, just initial questions. There's other things that will be in this I'll review later. This envelope, there's another envelope that's in there. Your hotspot is in there, and we're going to cover all of those. The next thing that you'll have that we're going to review is that trolley, that green trolley that's underneath there. Now, y'all, oh yeah, yours is still out in the hallway. Don't open it yet. I'd let those people early in the week open it, and I never could get back control of the room. The way we're going to do this is, I'm just pointing it, okay? The end of the night, you can go through your trolley. You can check the inventory, which, by the way, happens to be in your box, okay? All you got to do is pull it out, double check, see you have everything in there. Everything's in there, including a first aid kit and a tape to measure the 100 feet. You can go out and set up your place. And the idea would be at the end of the night, particularly if we finish a little before 9, you sit together, inventory it. But if not, schedule a time to come back and inventory, okay? You're not going to have time to inventory it on the pickup day, all right? And that is Friday, November 1st. I'll get back to that in a minute. Now, see all these cones stacked over here? We still haven't moved them outside to let them go. Each of you will have, this is all brand new, that you will have, pop that off of there, 2 of these. They're a whole lot easier than those wheel things that the county uses to set signs up. These are your 100-foot markers. There's a sign being made a little bit bigger than this that has the, if I touch something, it'll all explode. But anyway, what it has is the 100-foot language. You go ahead and measure, you go out and put it. You can stick your head out the door and see nobody's moved it. That thing, particularly if we have a sunny day, November 5th, this thing will show. Yes, David? Mm-hmm. Yeah, unless you want to hammer them in the ground. And you could take these and hammer them in the ground. Oh, that's right. They are a replacement for that. You need 4? Well, let me get done. You might not want 4. Did you put, what hands are up back there? Oh. Yeah. But watch this. I'm not through with the new stuff. So you have cones. You have 3 of those coming. 3. You have 3 of the A-frames. They're specific to your precinct. 2 of them are. One of them is general. The signs are all replaceable here. We're going to complete the order tomorrow. We got it finally approved, so we're ready to move on with that. And it's the biggest reason I'm doing it is because you're a precinct. The approach to David's precinct is on a road, and they're on the inside of a curve. And what's it, 55 or 60 miles an hour speed limit? Whatever it is above that people are driving. And it doesn't have a great big glowing sign and whatever. So you fly right by it, and if not, you're slamming on the brakes and turning in. I started thinking, how do we fix that? So one of those will be on the outside of the curve. So as you're coming into the curve, they're starting to see it. Hopefully they'll slow down, and they'll be able to see it from the other direction as well. And then 2 of those would be in that parking lot area. So you put 2 of these and 2 of those, you might have enough things, because the next thing I'm about to show you, that black voter information sign right here, this will hold every sign that you're required to post. And you're going to get a chance tonight to put yours together. But anyway, this just rolls up in This and the signs are already in your trolley. They're all laminated, ready to go. So when you set up your deal, instead of 20 minutes of figuring out how to tape all this stuff up on doors and windows, you set this. It has to be posted at the door. If it's really windy, bring it right inside the door. If it's not really windy, outside the door is one more attractive way of doing it. And there's no order necessary here. Okay? Question.
There's a modification to that statement.
I'm interested.
If it's English and Spanish, they
Oh.
have to be posted
Side by side. Right.
Not
So yeah, you would look at these two here. Required for Texas, you've got English and Spanish. You want those adjacent. We love these things, and I can promise you this: if Kathy Letter and Debbie Russell together could put theirs together faster than all the guys in the room, you're not going to have any trouble doing this. Okay, I promise you, it does go together pretty easily, and it weighs nothing. If we find that we're having issues with wind, then I'll go ahead and try and get some sandbags or something to do it. But you can put it just right inside the door. Takes the place of the old trifolds and all of those things. So your voters have something to look at that's clear. You could set that on a table if you had one right inside the door. So you've got that, but these are the outside attractions and usefulness, and there it is, my cheat sheet. We'll get to the Duo, we'll get to the scanner, we'll get to the poll pads. Okay. Nobody talk. Nobody say anything for this. One thing goes in this bag. What is it? Come on, now you can talk. I didn't mean to shut you down.
Is it balance?
Oh, that's the ballot.
That's the balance.
Well done, David. You win, and so do you.
You had it all pushed flat. It didn't-
I do. Yeah, but it's the only gray bag we use. Y'all, the only thing that goes in this are voted ballots that you bring to us locked, and we're going to go over that. Nothing else. Nothing else. No keys, no unused ballots, David. Nothing else goes in this but the used ballots. If you've done it properly, this does not get opened again for 60 days after the canvass. Okay? If you do it properly, you will be asked when you come in, did you put anything else in there? And then when you check off everything you're supposed to brought back and something's missing, okay, we're not going to, wet noodle slap you or anything, but don't. Just flat, oh, we are? Okay, thank you, Kit. Kit has just informed me we have plans. That'd be the time we'd have those pies you've got hiding in there, the lemon pies. Now, I will say this. In your scanner box, you will have set this up with these metal rails. And this is how it'll be set up there. I recommend when you do it, slide the bottom of that underneath. There's a little Velcro flap down here. Same thing over here. And at the end, after you've printed after you've shut your polls down and you're ready to put it away, if you're certain that you could collapse it a little bit, go ahead and then lock it. Because all you do to collapse it is to pull the metal things out from underneath it. We're going to have a lot of ballots, and we use this as our primary vault. When you bring them in from central count, it's going to go here to be checked, and it will go straight into the vault. And hopefully we'll get all of the bags in there, and if not, we'll go use the secondary vault for the balance of them.
So it would be advisable to collapse
Yeah. Yeah, yes, if in a small precinct like yours, you would say what?
I said, maybe not David, but David, but Betty.
Yes, yours a little bit bigger precinct, you might have a fuller thing. We're going to do more with that later. So, in case you haven't been paying attention, only voted ballots. Not spoiled ballots, not unused ballots, not unused ADA ballots, not sample ballots, nothing, okay? The next time, actually, that these would be open is closer than that, because when we do the partial manual count, it might be your precinct that gets selected. But that's the only time that it would be open before the end of the 60. It's all right. They're made durable. Second bag. When you pick up all your stuff that you're going to get is this. It's clear one side, Gillespie Elections on the other, the purple bag. And every time I pick up one of these, I do this a few times because these zippers are kind of stiff. And and you can tell when we do this one, they've been used a lot. These are pretty new to us. I think this is the third election that we've used this. This is for, these are the unused ballots. Both regular ballots and ADA ballots, unused, okay? Now, see that little white piece of paper in there? Please put it in last on top, okay? If you put it in, then put the ballots on top, we're gonna have to open it, pull it out. Ideally, we don't have to unlock this one. I didn't show you about the lock here because we have several types of locks we use. In the case of this bag, most of them are, most of those are going to be white. These are in this bag. I'll review in a minute. I'm just going to pick one out. This little flap and the two zippers. I've had people do this where they zip it all the way here, but you can still get in if you had a knife easily. What you do is you bring both zippers to the middle. There is a hole in each one of them. We have one ballot bag where that's broken, and we don't check that out for any purpose. And just run them through there. You can go through from this side or the other. You put it in, pull it tight, okay? And that thing's locked. There's a spot we'll review where you put that number, okay? Pretty simple there. This lock is different. Uses these little plastic kind of plug-like locks. And this bag here, the provisional in this one uses that. You zipper all the way across. And by the way, we have hands-on later. I'm just showing now. You close that down, and these little guys, listen. The other little click. Once it's in there, you're not going to pull that open without breaking this. It's got a number. Write it. We'll go over that on the sheet. If we have to open it when you bring it back, then we have to break it to do it. That's how simple it is to break it, and we can get back in. Fortunately, these are pennies a piece, so, but don't break it, and just put it in once.
Paper that you have in the front there, that goes into the front, or does it go?
This goes visible on top.
Visible on top. Okay.
And what you do with this one, you've got the general election, printed, unused ballots, ADA unused ballots, and the total. And put all my ballots in, make this the last, so that the people in part of central count can read it, and then we know that this is appropriately done, okay? We got these, I guess, after the January meeting, didn't we? And so we've used these through the primary and the runoff. This is the bag you're most familiar with.
So
Yes.
Jim, what do you do with the ballot? When you give us ballots, there's usually a cover sheet with them, right?
Are you talking about the orange, the one with the numbers of the ballots? Okay.
Not the reconciliation.
Yeah, well, they come, Mr. Pact, right? We didn't get these for the other, they didn't prepare it that way, but there's a cover sheet that has the number range, and it's kind of got an orange bar across the top. And when we pull those out, we just store those. They are not a used ballot, okay? They do not go in here. Why would we put them in there?
That's what you.
Is that what I said?
That is what you said.
Oh, gosh.
That's why I asked.
I've already gotten caught. Already gotten
I
caught.
said put them in there because it's easy.
It is easy. It is easy. Just don't put them on top. Put them underneath there, because that means you've opened up that deal. Those are going to be 200 in a package. They're clearly marked. If you're really paranoid, you'll open them and count them. Trust us, it's 200. If you need to open it to fill out, by all means, do that. You hardly get that, and you're going to open yours, that's for sure. So yes, that does go there. If that's on the list, you know that's the case. Purple, yeah. Now, if you make a mistake, drop them in your box and we'll probably find them. There's always a default setting on this thing that box gives us. This is for provisional. There are two ways to do a provisional. Excuse me, there are things I have to do some sitting during most of my days these times. It's up to you. You will have enough of these to lock it every time you do a provisional. But if you've got your ballots protected, the blank ones unused, and you have this with that, this first time you put it in, make sure it's zippered, and you make sure nobody leaves. You never leave your ballots unattended, so you have this with it. If you've got one of those days that you realize it's going to be multiple days, and every time you have to open it up, you've got to break it and record the new seal, that's fine. That's the way it actually works for early voting, but theirs has that feature. But when you decide to lock it, same thing. You'll hear that same click, and you've got it locked, and this is how it comes back to us. We will open this in central count, because we've got to start proving up that ballot with a couple of steps. And
Give us enough locks.
yes, you'll have a whole handful of these. And you don't have to lock this green bag, by the way. Let's see if they're already in here. No, but they will be in there. You've got plenty of these. You've got the next one I'm going to show you, and then you'll have lots of those.
Because I think during one of those, we didn't get these for some reason, so we just used those white ones.
Okay, well, you can make that work, but it's not the simplest thing to do. Now, we're going to do a test on provisional ballots before we're done, but they end up in here along with other documentation. There's a combo sheet, and so we'll go over that as we get specifics. This that I've pulled out twice, I don't know why I put it back. You'll pick this up on November 4, on Monday. This will have your keys in it. It will have your clerk's name badges, and all of those things will be in this one. Even though we're picking it up on chain of custody day, you're not required to have it locked, because really the only thing that's in it, the one thing that's in there is the codes. Who knows? I may lock it just for the fun of it. But the other bag you're going to have in here says ballot slips. Do we know what those are? Okay. How many different levels of security do we have on our ballots that I've already mentioned? This is one, because every voter's slip should be in here. The poll pad is the second. The count is the third. The protection of the ballot by the judge is the fourth. Keep in mind, one of the most important things when we talk about security is that we know who's handling our ballots. Okay, we're not stuck in a situation for where the unknown person is handling my scanner or my poll pad. We know who it is. It's us. Okay? And our machines will be being set up by people you know. 3 of whom are in the room. Kit, Alan, and myself. We don't know if those codes were the right. Yes, you do. Or you're calling me a liar. Okay? And when we do the check-in, we've got the head of IT for the county. We've got the county clerk. Y'all, one of the great strengths of any election system, this one or any other, is the known people that are running it. Okay? Keep in mind of that. That's you, and you, and you two, and your alternates. Okay? You know people, they know you. We're not farming this puppy out. Okay? So, ballot slips go in here. Now, do they have to be in order or anything? No, just bundle them up and put them in there. If we choose to count them for some reason, freedom of information request or something, we will. Just put them in here every time you get them. Same thing with any of the other things that I've mentioned. And,
Jim, I got a question.
sir.
Where do the spoil ballots go?
Aha, getting there. Promise you. Okay, he is. Okay, and we said we weren't going to let spectators question, but he's one of my bosses. So here we go. So how many ballots have we talked about? We've talked about fresh ballots. They're going to come from our office. You're going to pick them up on Monday, and you're going to have them and be responsible for them until you return them to us on Tuesday night. They're going to be voted ballots. They're going to be spoiled ballots, which the question is about. They're going to be unused ballots. They're going to be ADA ballots, which end up fitting in one of those 2 categories. And what? And then there's those provisional ballots, which are a regular ballot. All of those we have to take care of with different ways because Jim Riley is required to account for, how many is it? 18,750 ballots, one way or another, when we get done. And that was a bunch of money that we spent. So? No. ADA ballots are unnumbered, and I'll review that when we get here. What was that coming over here to grab? Oh, I know what it was. Spoiled ballot envelope is right here. Yep. So the question was about spoiled ballot envelopes. And please know that in your box, you're going to have paper forms, but you also will have a laminated copy of that same form. And if it's appropriate, on the back is the Secretary of State explanation of how to use the form. Oops, you mean I could listen tonight, I could go back and watch the video, or I could, man, you've got all kinds of ways to tell me how to give the voter the best thing they can. And there'll probably be more people will tell me about. But in this case, spoiled ballots are one of the simpler ones to keep up with. You're going to have this page. The laminate is not the same color, and you're going to have this envelope. And where these mostly come from is not spilling coffee. Okay? No beverages on any tables. No beverages. No hand sanitizer. You put that off to the side. What do they do? You mean spilling it?
I've had ballots like one of the first elections I worked with, 5 ballots were ruined because of hand sanitizer.
Okay. So that's possible. Maybe random. We'll see. But whatever causes it, all right, whatever causes it, you're going to take the ballot serial number, every one of our ballots, not the sample ones, will have a number here. Numbered 1 through 18,750. Okay? And that number goes here. And the name of the voter goes here for one type of a spoiled ballot. And it's spoiled by the voter. How does a voter typically spoil a ballot? Yeah, it's usually an overvote. The machine will reject an overvote. It will not reject an undervote. And the reason is the page 2. If it rejected undervotes, they'd be standing there hours because a lot of people aren't even going to vote these single races. All of these here. Because they already know that the new district attorney for 2016 judicial is Lucy Wilkie.
But if the whole page is blank,
It may reject that, but
will reject and ask
yeah.
if you want to vote it.
But again, as we'll teach your clerks and y'all tonight listening, those three ballots that you offer them have two sides. Matter of fact, if you really wanted to think about it, you could, when you hand them down, you could flip one of them over. Well, they don't look alike. That's because they have two sides, and I just wanted you to notice that. There are ways you can make sure that happens. Why do we get the name and the number here? That seems like an invasion. No. At some point, somebody's going to say, no, you guys said there were 200 spoiled ballots, and where did they go, and who got voted, and something like that. You don't get anything but the serial number and the voter, and I can say, well, Betty Hahn said her ballot got spoiled. Call her. Jack Smith said he got this. Never happens, because we really, don't have that many. Well, this election could be. So name of the voter, the number, and that column there is spoiled by the voter. You're going to have a minimum of 2 spoiled ballots. You can't avoid that. Okay? A perfectly run, non-spoiled valid election will have 2 spoiled ballots. You know why? Common sense would tell you. You know this one.
I'm thinking.
Let's see.
That's the ones that you've signed in the back?
Yes.
Yeah, the extras that you say, because you have to have 3.
You have to, exactly. Your last voter's coming in the door, and you look over, and you have only 1 ballot left. The temptation to just hand them that. No, you've got to sign 2 more. They have to have a choice of 3. So the really slick judge can have only 2. You'll have more than that. And what that does is it goes in the spoiled by election worker column. That you spoiled it because you made it a legitimate ballot by signing it. You don't have to hand sign. You can use a rubber stamp. Don't use a red. Use a blue or a black for your pad. Oh, and by the way, there is a title top on this. Oh, and there's a signature at the bottom. Do not avoid those. Otherwise, it becomes a paper airplane. That's all its best use. So, spoiled ballots come this way typically. The voter fills out their ballot, and they go to the scanner, and they put it in the scanner, and it spits it almost immediately back out. And the voter goes, whoop, and the clerk goes, ah, and somebody will grab the thing and whatever. So we're going to talk to your clerks. And later on tonight, I'm going to ask you what specifically do you want me to make sure the clerks are covered. So be thinking about that. I'm going to cover a lot of stuff, but if there's something that you want me to make sure is covered. But when that thing comes out, and we will see it do it because you're going to use this machine, it won't come all the way out, but it'll go in and boop, and you've got the screens up. You've got your clerk, hopefully. Now picture the screen here. The clerk should be off to the side. And by the way, you don't just put this by the door and have everybody else doing other things. You always have a clerk standing here. Somebody will walk out without a ballot. Somebody might come in the outside door. No, you have that. Matter of fact, in this room, our clerk is between this and the door. Okay? So, but they're not, oh, voted for him, did you? That's just not the option for them. They're just holding these cool stickers. Did everybody get a sticker? The I voted stickers? There should be a couple on your table. The I voted presidential. They're only available for us to buy in certain years, so I went and bought 10,000 of these, and everybody will have some, and then you'll have to use the regular ones if we run out of that. So your clerk's standing here. The clerk's job is to know that could come, and I'm going to try to teach every one of them. It's okay. Just wait. Don't touch it. Well, what did it do? What does the screen say? And the voter reads the screen. Well, it says that I voted for too many people in the Senate race. Okay, can you see that on your ballot? Well, yeah, it popped all the way. I did. I voted for, who's running? I voted for Cruz. I voted for Allred. I thought, let somebody else decide. Nobody will do that, but they will vote twice. Okay, what else does it say? Sometimes it might be more than one race, okay? And there's even a scroll feature on there. I've never seen anybody make that many mistakes. But if they've got 2 or 3, but if they say that's what it says, okay, is there another tab there that says vote the ballot as is? Again, this is all the voter's choice. Yes. Okay, before you press that button, I have to tell you, if you vote your ballot as is, that vote will not count for either candidate. Well, what am I going to do then? Okay, I got an option for you there. We can spoil that ballot. And you call your judge over. Okay? And the judge will come over and say, I can spoil your ballot for you. We'll give you a new, fresh ballot. You can fill it out and put it back in and hope you hear that bing. Yep, exactly, David. They have up to 3 times to do it. That third time it goes in, if they say, well, you know, they got to press as is or they don't vote. Now, something weird like that happens. That's why you should have a journal, just a little notebook of some sort. Every little weird thing like the guy just gave up voting, write that down. It's going to come back later to be useful. We've got a missing ballot. We can't find it all day long. Oh, but my notes said at 10 o'clock we had this happen, and that's where it disappeared. Okay, so those things do happen. But if they choose, maybe it's they filled everything out and they filled everything out and on a race that they don't really care about. That's where they did it. I'm going to vote as is. It'll take the ballot immediately, and it counts. Your machine will pop up and with a little flag and this annoying beep beep kind of a sound. I wish they'd change the sound.
Because I've been asked this a number of times. If somebody on the ballot, the way it's set up now, that if they choose not to vote for the presidential, but they vote everything else,
those are what counts.
Down, and those will count, right?
Yeah.
Those are not.
Right.
Because I've had more people tell me now that if that comes in without that first, that will be a spoil.
No. No.
They can't vote it as.
No, because the purpose of any type of counting is to record, not determine, record the voters' preferences. Okay, there's a big difference in determine them and record them. Okay, the machine is set up in such a way that if you got multiples, it's going to say you're not allowed to. It says right on the ballot that you can just do one, except for where there's write-ins. I'm going to have to touch base on the write-ins later. But no presidential vote was recorded, but the next one in line is what, the Senate? Yeah. Maybe they only vote Senate. Maybe they come in and want to vote just one race. So anyway, that's where a spoiled ballot come from. Yes, Paula.
So it rejects it, and they say they want to do a new ballot. What happens?
Okay, good. I didn't finish that. Thanks. You rewind This is 4 nights in a row we've done this thing, and I think I've said some things. The judge will take that ballot. Yeah, you call the judge, but it could be you. I mean, you're next in line for the judge there, so your judge may say, go take care of that. You take the ballot, you write the serial, you get their name, you're going to spoil by voter, and then take that ballot, and there's no code for this. I put a big S on it, okay? Some people put an X. Some people don't do anything, and I always fold it, okay? What do we do? And then the thing I say to them is, I'm getting ready to put it in an envelope, and it'll never be seen again. Oh, okay. Because it's there, I don't need to take them back out. You're going to turn in a sheet telling me where every ballot went, so I know you had 12 spoiled ballots or whatever. And then the judge will start over with them 3 ballots. You don't give them 1, you give them again a choice of 3. They go vote it up, and they have it. We've got some cool chairs here, David. Okay, good. Okay.
So you said you can not mark it?
Yes, you can not mark it. You don't have to.
They check in here is that they're all marked.
They,
All
they're
spoiled
welcome.
ballots have to be marked.
Well,
Clearly
the code doesn't say it that I'm aware of.
What they're checking for is that they're
We'll
clearly
solve what they're doing. That won't apply here. So all those ballots are going to be brought back in and recorded one way or another. So I am. Where's my cheat sheet? Oh, that goes back in there. Here it is. Mm.
Is there a problem with us seeing their ballot?
At that point, no, it's a spoiled ballot. I would rather. I mean, what you don't do is say, okay, we're going to spoil this ballot where you've voted for Trump here and you voted for Allred here and you voted. You don't do that. But you.
All you basically do is just look for that number.
I'm looking for that number, and I'm going to put it away. And that's another way, if you want to fold it. I mean, I always mark them, and maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I've just been lucky. But when I fold it, I'll do it this way to have these 2 lines connect. But that ballot doesn't come out of there except we do check, and we're only checking for how many are in there. So.
And then you stick that back in that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Once you start filling the envelope, there should be enough room for the envelope to go in there unfolded. It's a little tight. Okay, so now I want to, I'm not through with the stuff. I talked about all the seals but one. These seals are nifty little deals, and they're primarily used, though you can use them anywhere, they're primarily used on your box, okay? Do not remove a red seal unless you put it on there. Now, we're not going to give you many red seals at all. We put this on, you don't take it off. You will always find it on this spot on your, there's a little door right here where your V drive goes. Alan and Kit and I and David will have installed this. You'll have this number, and the first time you see this number is in the polling place. I'm not going to open the scanner so you can look at this number because I've got a thing around the handle. When you get out in the field and you open it and it doesn't match that number, then call me. Something did happen, but it wouldn't have because we don't let anybody else have them. These are neat little locks. They're like a fish hook. That thing just goes around whatever it is you're doing. I'm running out of red. You put it down in there, press against it. Maybe you can hear it. No, I could feel it thump in there. It's like a quill or something that walking through the garden that grabs you and holds on. And this is going to stay there. Okay. I didn't push it all the way in. There. You'll use these, and we're going to go over that in just a second. And then to take them off, you break them. Okay? You'll either twist them or roll them. Some of them are tougher than others. Most of them, though, will break, and they will completely break. You bring these back in that bag, And that's where they go, by the way. Look up there on top of the deal. That's kind of over the years. I have no idea how far back that goes. We found them in Ziploc bags and stuff when we were kind of straightening up here, and I thought, well, that would make a cute kind of a deal. So we did that. Red one, do not remove. These other colors you'll put on there. And then there's a third thing I don't have. Let me double check. I do. There's one other item. This is a hotspot. Short range hotspot that you just simply plug in. And what this is for is to sync the pole pads. Yours first, but all the way across the county. Doesn't have to reach, by the way, from your fire station to Terra Linda. It only has to reach the next place because they're all being synced at the same time. If you're just sitting there bored and you want to just watch your machine, every once in a while you'll notice that it says it's synced. It's doing it every 3 minutes. What that prevents is somebody voting in Precinct 1. You can walk from here to the Methodist Church, jumping in their car and going down here and voting in Precinct 12. Although, if you know how we're set up, that's prevented anyway because that poll pad is not set up for anything but Precinct 12. That's the beauty of precinct voting instead of countywide voting, is that we've just got a select few people that can vote at your location. You won't get Precinct 4 coming up to Doss except for the fish fry. So, so you have one of these in there. Typically a place like where you are, the Faith Baptist, that are not close to a county building, this is where it really comes in handy. All the fire stations are not an issue. They've got the boost, they're connected, but plug it in anyway. And we have a way of knowing they're all on. Okay? So, and you might look, I put this on September 12th, 2024. We have a number on it. I signed it, and Kit has it written down on our codes list. Okay? That should not come off. There's no reason for that to come off. And that will be in your box. So that's a long list of stuff we give you. It comes in 2 categories. It comes in chain of custody items and non-chain of custody items. The cones aren't a chain of custody item. That board right over there is not a chain of custody item. A ballot is. Non-chain of custody items. The trolley is a non-chain of custody item. There's nothing in there that is required to be kept other than inventoried. I'm asking everyone to pick those up anytime Friday the 1st of November. Anytime all day. We open the polls at 7. We'd like you to wait till 7:30. But we get busy about that 7 o'clock time. And then we're open till 7 o'clock that night. So all day. If that is impossible, call and we'll make a special arrangement. The building, no one will be here on that Saturday, November 2nd. I promise you. We will have gone 12 straight days, 14-hour days. Sunday we'll be back because we'll be printing out some things. So one thing that's not on this list, you will have a poll book for just your precinct, okay? And not my list that I'm talking about, Charlotte. And what that is a backup. If you come into early voting, you'll see them sitting up there. There are 3 or 4 of them about that thick. The ones in here have every voter in the county. I'm going to ask you a question back there. What's our current number? Do you know it? Okay, so we're at about, let's say it's going to be 22,013, okay? All of those people will be in there. Our copy will be clean except for codes that describe whether or not they asked for a ballot by mail, and the other code says they not only asked for it, that they've come back in. And we've already had, gosh, guys, we're close to 100 return. Yeah, that have already come back in. and I'm going to take a break before we start into some of these others. We always get questions about ballot by mail. Yes. Let me just stop and take questions for a minute.
This envelope says place this in ballot bag number 4 with the ballots.
Put it,
Does
just
that
put it,
mean
yeah.
in there?
We have a box here we call Fred that is basically ballot bag 4. Okay. It's kind of that catch-all thing. Yeah, put it back in there. If you have any wonderment, did Jim say this or not, and what's the code say? Just put it back in. That's the beauty of this. You've got a named spot. You can put it back down, and we'll find it, and we'll walk you through that. So, has anybody here ever done ballot by mail? None of us.
In Texas or outside?
Well, I'm not talking about people internationally or whatever.
No, I've done it in California.
Okay, and you have, okay, so Steve's done it, you've done it. In Texas, it has, see all that writing right there? That isn't even close to how many steps there are. I sat in here the other night and just started writing down how many different things. Yeah, you catch my meaning, Alan? Okay, how many different steps there are to prove up a ballot by mail, okay? You don't just come in, get one, go out and grab an envelope and a Snoopy stamp and mail it back. It starts with an application that has to be mailed in or hand delivered here, and we take that application, we look them up in our system so that we find out whether or not they're an eligible voter, copy that thing. One copy goes in this brown envelope, and the other copy goes in a backup notebook, and it sits there until we get ballots. In the meantime, we've put together these packets. This packet is full of stuff, and all of this gets mailed to the voter. And it gets mailed in this big green envelope. Okay? And all the rest of this stuff fits in. So each of it's kind of like those Russian doll type of things. One fits in the other and the other all the way down. And what we have here is a mail-out envelope that by the time it leaves has the date we mailed it. It's got the voter's name written on it. It has general election written on it. We make a label that goes on it. So just that one envelope's 4 steps. Everything else that's going to go in there includes this little note that comes from the Secretary of State, information about returning your carrier envelope, which is this purple-looking one. Tells them what they need to do to make sure that there's no problems with that envelope being processed. That is this envelope here, which also has the same label on it. It also has general election November 5. We handwrite the name of the voter on it. The voter then will fill out some stuff. This label goes on it. The sticker goes on it. There's a tear off in the middle of that. When they sign it across the flap. There's all kinds of ways that our early voting ballot board, and Lori's part of that, make sure that this is the right ballot. What's in this envelope that's being returned is what's called a secrecy envelope. The voter puts their ballot in that, closes it, puts it in this envelope, and closes it. It doesn't get opened again until the ballot board opens it. We don't open it when it comes back. We do tear off the little strip to see that they did what they're supposed to do, put their proper number on there, but that's as far as it goes. And then from that, here we go again. We take this fella, we go over here where we have this envelope with the application in it, put this in there, and it goes in a locked ballot box in the vault until the ballot board meets. And then they sit down and go through them, and they decide which ones they are going to open based on matching signatures and all the criteria they use. They don't open every one of them. During the primary and particularly runoff, we didn't have any problems, but we might find some that didn't fill things out if we haven't been able to catch that in advance. We even give them a little yellow thing in Spanish and English. Don't forget to write the numbers on here. And then there's a little letter signed by yours truly about their rights as a voter and so forth and so on that's part of this. Y'all, we do things like every time we either take it in or mail it out, we stamp the date and the time. some of these envelopes looked like, you know, some kid got to play with it. There's so many spots on it. So be assured that as safe as you possibly can make. I'm not a big mail-in fan, but we have that in this state. But we're not Washington State, where they're mailed out a ballot, whether or not, I mean, if they're registered supposedly, and you can drop your ballot off in the airport on your way into the state or out. I mean, it's just, but my Washington State, we love it. Well, it's okay. That's okay. Hmm?
Are you gonna tell us how to cancel
Yep,
one of those?
yep. That's part of this. But you will, canceling one of these pretty easy. I'm going to turn that over in a minute to Alan. I get a little rest on that. So, yes, Leslie.
To say about that, the confusion that I heard here in Gillespie County from a number of people, including one, I think who got in touch with you directly, had to do with students who have gone off but they want to vote here.
Right.
And the residence is here.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get that thing where they win and you run it off on your computer, you run off the application.
Mm-hmm.
And it was okay, Dad, do I put it in an express mail or something? Because they wanted to make sure that their application got to you in a timely manner, so that
Alan.
this return stuff would go back to them. And that was, and I said, I think, it's so safe. And what threw them off were these dates, the deadline dates that we have on everything.
Right.
Last time to apply for a ballot by mail, and then the last acceptance for the return of a ballot by mail. And he said, how come you can apply for one 5 days before it's due?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, that's not there.
Right.
So that applying for it from the very beginning.
Without any coaching, I bet I can beat every story you just told. We ought to charge admission to listen to Alan and Kit and David with the phone calls and the questions they have. Most of it's legitimate. Please understand that. But what do you do with somebody like that? No, I'm talking to Alan.
Concerning the deadline for voter registration, October 7th for the election, as long as your application is postmarked and mailed that day, we'll take it. We get a lot from Secretary of State after the deadline, and they send a letter with the batch of applications saying these were received by the deadline, please process them. Ballot by mail, it's a different, we treat the deadline differently. We have to have the ballot in the office by the end of business day, October 25th. So I always check the mail at the end of
The ballot or the application?
The application,
Okay.
the application. And then the ballot, the actual ballot, as long as it's postmarked by election day, we check the mail every day after that for a few days. I think it's up to 6 days. And that's got to be cut. The only hard cutoff day really is application for ballot by mail, October 25th. But the rest of them, as long as it's postmarked for that day, election law allows us to take into account time for them to get to us from where they're postmarked from.
Yeah, and part of that goes to the ballot board, that they don't meet for the final time until those time periods have expired. So that's one way to help that. How many did we counted it up? I know I'm sorry I didn't tell you I was going to do this. I didn't plan to do this. How many different countries do we have voting in this county?
Name the ones off the top of my head. Quite a few from Germany, some from the United Kingdom. We had Senegal the other day, Thailand, United Arab Emirates, Israel. Quite a few from Israel. That's correct. Japan, Korea. Those ones I can think off the top of my head for federal postcard applications, federal ballots.
And they went in through.
What's the difference in a federal ballot and the one in our county?
The federal ballot just has the 3 federal races, president, U.S. rep, and
Senator.
Yeah.
Senator.
Yeah, senator.
I'm sorry, Alan. I didn't tell you I was going to do this to you. You're doing great, though.
Yeah, those are the FCA for military or folks out of the country, and of course the ballot by mail is for everybody in the continental United States or in state, just out of county.
And the only people that checked with me on their voter status were ones who wanted to make sure that something hadn't happened to their vote status between the runoff the primaries,
Mhm.
and that show them as active voter, and whether they get their mail-in ballot
And to
automatically.
speak to
Wha-
that,
yeah.
we do not cancel anybody unless we get it from the Secretary of State, and they don't cancel anybody unless they move to a different county in Texas, even if they move out of Texas.
Right.
And or if we have proof that they are deceased, or the voter requests themselves and signs an affidavit saying, I want to cancel registration. We occasionally have those, but we place people in suspense. So if they gather suspense, they can walk in, sign a statement of residence, which all y'all are familiar with, and they can vote. So there are very strict rules about when and how we can cancel voters.
Right. The question that I was going to answer, I've completely forgotten. You're doing great. Forget it. Couldn't have been that good, right? Any other questions about ballot by mail? Now, Betty, though, asked a question about what do they do on Election Day with a ballot by mail?
So if on election day, the only ballots you can take are folks surrendering their ballot and wanting to vote in person. And if they want to actually cast their ballot by mail ballot, you have to send them to our office. We're the only people who can take that ballot, and it can only be done on election day. So no one can cast a ballot by mail in person unless they come to our office on election day, and we check them in through different paperwork. Now, folks can surrender a ballot to vote. They can also say, I never received our ballot. Then you call us, we check what's verified, y'all fill out the affidavit, sign everything, and then they can vote at that point. And that way, if their ballot does show up, if they forget, folks do forget they did it by mail because we send them out a month ahead of time, we can make sure that it's not counted twice.
And some people, we had two come back today, for example, that filled out their application right after the 1st of January, because it's an annual application. It doesn't go on year after year. And it looks like they have moved. And so we sent to the address on that. They got the primary and the other one. So we've got to do a little bit of Columboing and investigate until we find out where they moved or if they moved out of state or whatever. But the neat part about it is the post office cannot forward that. It comes back to us. So, yes, David?
You said if somebody has a mail-in ballot that they filled out at home, you can accept it at the office on election day?
On election day, yeah, they can
Right.
bring it in person if they don't want to put it in the mail. They said, we heard a lot, we don't trust USPS. We said, okay, we understand, that's fine. And they can turn it in election day. We get their ID. It's just like when they were voting. They get an ID, we sign. It's similar to a combination form. It's like they're coming in and casting a vote.
So this request to cancel, they
Is-
have to sign it.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
They have to fix,
And they have to surrender a ballot to do that.
yeah,
So then what do you do with that ballot?
goes in this,
It's a spoiled ballot?
No,
it's in this envelope.
it goes in that,
Separate
right.
envelope.
yeah. So,
Mark the ballot that it's been canceled, it's spoiled, whatever.
On your, on your poll pad, I don't believe it'll differentiate when you check them in whether they have, it'll show that we sent them a ballot. It won't say if they received it back, and that's where you have to get a phone call to us so we can verify whether we got it back or haven't got it back yet. But the poll
Yeah, it
book,
does.
like anybody,
yeah, it does. AM and AB are
in the
two,
poll book, it shows that. On the poll pad,
Oh, okay,
it
I-
doesn't differentiate.
yeah.
Okay.
So-
So you can always check the poll book too. Y'all have those as well.
So,
The poll pad, it'll just say that they were sent a ballot by mail, but it will not say whether or not we received one back. The poll book will. You can always check there or give us a call, either one.
okay, I'm going to double check that. Okay, we're actually pretty much on time, believe it or not, so I'm going to move on to the next step and give Alan, who's sweating bullets, a break. How do you set, everybody, I want everybody to listen to this. How do you set your site up? Describe your site to everybody. I will tell you it's a fire station.
So we have two sets of doors, so I have an entrance and an exit.
Okay?
And then they come in the entrance, and I usually have this thing set up in the inside
Right.
because it's so windy up there. I have two long tables like this, where we have poll pads and, well, we have a greeter and a poll pad.
Yeah.
That. and then the ballots will sit on the next table with that clerk.
Right.
And we have our our voting booths back toward the back.
Yeah.
And then I have a table that separates from where they walk in and where they walk out,
Okay.
so they can't cross over. And then I have
The scanner.
at the other door where they walk.
Okay. Now, Betty's done this a number of times out there. She's got one of the great locations because the fire station guys, you've got, and I'm going to touch on this when we talk about emergency plans, you've got almost that. If somebody were to have a heart attack or something, you're close to your spot, Terra Linda's fire, and Stonewall. We talked about an emergency plan. 4 of the 13 places are the responders to some of these emergencies. So that would be good. You, Linda, don't know your precinct. I'll describe it for you in a minute. How we're going to do that. Tell them about your fire station.
So I have, depending on the weather, the pretty much one door that they come in. Usually it's the big door. We've got, doors here. We've got them coming in. We set up the poll pads. The ballots are there. The voting booths are down at that end. My ADA and my scanner are kind of in the middle, but across, so we can see them from where we're sitting. The judges, I have a table in the back with all of the papers and leftover ballots and all the stuff I'm keeping a track on. And so then they go out, usually again, because it's the double wide door, they come in one side and go out the other. So we don't separate with a table, but it's a pretty good flow. And again,
I've got to separate
tiny
with
little-
a table because in Dawes there's too many people that sit there and talk.
that's it.
They want to visit, so I have to get them over to
Right.
that side of the.
So yours
of the
come in
room,
groups,
so-
mine comes
yeah.
in, maybe 2. I think I get excited when I have 3 that show up at one time.
Now,
So it's very different than what you would do because it's always in sight and very easily maintained.
yeah, and one of the things I've been asked by another judge to say to the clerks and to everybody is that some places, one, are noisier than the other, and number 2, it's not a spelling or a quilting bee. The idea is in and out. Problem is, you know these people. Okay? So as a judge, one of the things you've got to be able to do is find that line where you can tell maybe one of your better friends who's now into their 3rd really good story, you've got to go on. So keep that always in mind as you deal with folks. Yeah.
One other thing that's important in the fire stations, I don't know about the others, they have cameras on all the time. So, so I have to go in and make sure they're turned off in the voting location.
Yeah.
So that was a double check that we failed once.
Yeah.
Halfway through the day, like, huh?
And if you've never noticed in here, you're on camera now, not just that one. But when we open the polls, those are just little cups up there, and we just pop them up on the camera and Velcro them. John, the previous building superintendent guy, came up with that idea. He said, I got an idea for you, Jim. He put those up there. I thought that was pretty clever. Pretty clever. And we just get a ladder, pop them up there, and the end of the night, it's on Scott's closing procedure. Uncover the cameras. So we remember to do that. Because this room is on all the time, and it's on a recording kind of a deal, that room where the ballots are is on all the time. How many cameras do we have covering our building? 12 or 24? 24 between us and the neighborhood. Okay. Okay, and we usually have them up in our office where we can look at them. And if I've been away from the building too long, I walk in. They've seen me coming, and here it comes. Okay, moving on. David, yours is different. How many of you've not been to Herman's Hill auction? It's Herman's Hill Auction House and Okay. What is the plan? Describe your plan for everybody here. So
I have a long room, and then I have two doors where people normally go in and come out. At the entrance door, I have like two tables, and that's my check-in and processing and then passing out the ballots. And behind that, I keep my blank ballots, so when I come to sign ballots, they're inaccessible, and plus they're always guarded, and they're right there.
Yeah.
I check them out. The next, there's kind of a gap, and then I have my table that's kind of the judge's table, and I lay out all my things on there, and then I sit there in case I need help somebody with something. And plus, then I can have all my paperwork organized so I can just quickly go to whatever I need.
right.
And then the next over is like 2 rows of tables with the voting booths.
Right.
And then I usually put the ADA machine kind of behind, somewhere behind in the vicinity of the check-in, because it's kind of out of the way.
Right.
But it's there if we need it.
Right.
And then nobody can watch what they're doing. And then, of course, by the exit door is the scanner.
Let me say something about the setups with the ADA machines. All of these machines come with these things here. They just pop on. If you've never done it, they just pop down in here. These are in your trolley. You have 2 for each machine. An ADA, though, that's not always enough. Find the spot where there's less traffic, or in our case, now this room's being set up, that's where the scanner will be with the red wall. The blue wall is going to be this. But it's not going to just be here where every voter walks by. We're going to turn this so that the voters either back to that or back is this way, and the voters can't see it. So think in your location, what gives them the additional privacy. A voter, for example, with a real trimmer who's working out here at one of your booths, I'm sorry, on that, if you can see what he's doing, whereas in most of your booths, if people want to keep things hidden, they can go over like this. Your typical person that needs ADA is probably not as able to do everything they would. So when you set up, think in that regard. Okay, I want to give you something for you to work on the rest of the day. I hope I have enough of these. Did I leave it? All right. This form right here. Y'all, this is your judge, your alternate, and your clerks. Okay? I need this. We have a lot we do. When you're done with it tonight, give it to Kit. We've spent a lot of time preparing for your clerks. If you have a new clerk, they come here to register with the county. We then take it over to Cami. Okay? Do not send folks over there. What we do is we'll get them, Cami and I sat down, we've got the exact form she wants. They fill them out, we make a copy to keep in our file, and then we take them over there. She enters them in, and then when we send the lists after the election, we know everybody's in the system. And it just makes a much better day for our auditors and the treasurer and everybody else. So don't send anybody to register a new person at that at the HR there. Won't even tell you where it is, in the basement, under the first door. No, but so I don't know how many of you will have new clerks, and I will tell you that after the third time everybody works for $10.25 an hour when they first start out. After they've done 3 elections, it jumps to $11.25, whether they're an election alternate judge or not. Election alternate judge from the beginning makes $11.25. I know you guys are just thinking, where am I going to spend all this money? And then the judge makes the exorbitant fee of $11.50. And that doesn't include French fries. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. We've been researching through there's a EAs, the election administrators, kind of a stream thing of talking and stuff. We're the lowest county that's so far reported in, and I think the next lowest is $14 an hour. But it really doesn't matter that much. Most of the people that I talked to, I didn't even know I was going to get paid. I'd have done it free. We're required to pay them. Now, don't say that aloud in front of all 4 of the commissioners, because they might say, well, why don't they give them $8 an hour? But so get me that, and then I want to just ask you, and I have a list for myself, what are the things that you want me to emphasize to the clerks that most help you get your thing done? David?
You have a problem with communicating with the
So basically you're saying don't shoot from the hip?
Well, if they need to do that, that's fine, but whatever, they need to talk to the judge about it, not keep it like, oh, I don't want to tell them.
You don't want to make up new law. Yeah.
If they don't know, if they think, don't think, just do what you know. If you don't know, tell the judge.
Yep.
We're not gonna bite. We're not gonna bite.
Our name is the one that's on the line. So
That's right.
let us make the mistake.
Yep. Yep. And speaking of what's on the line, the judge and the judge only, it has the authority of a district court judge that day. And I'm going to highlight that on some of the other stuff we talk about. You're in charge. Don't do dumb stuff, but asking somebody to leave, you get somebody that's hot-headed, you make the call. You get them arrested if necessary. You can do that. And it's not a citizen, it's a empowered citizen that can make that call. Now, I'm not expecting it to happen. I'm just saying you have the authority as the district judge. You're the one with the phone, and you're the one, if you're a carrier of firearms, that's allowed to have one in there. Nobody else is. It's not a police officer or an officer of the law. What other than that? I've been taking notes from these from all throughout this thing.
So what I tend to tell.
Yes,
No,
Leslie.
I was going to ask, as the alternate judge, I mean, David and I have worked together
Right.
in capacity, but I do a lot of things, they'll say, we need here or there, but I've never had the situation occur where he's had to leave or something.
Right.
He's been in charge. The question I have is that when you say ask a judge, take it to the judge if anyone has a problem
Right.
or something to bring it to you. If they bring it to me, then I'm gonna bring it to David, is
Mhm.
what I
Right.
understand. The chain is I don't answer them
Right,
in what my knowledge is.
right.
The other thing is that are the clerks, I noticed in the instructions, I was wondering about the clerks are going to be helping with the setup and everything, but I'm assuming, because that is what I used to do, that they would just be there at the same time, and we'd
If
put
they-
things together and
Yeah.
sign off on stuff. So that is not,
I tell clerks, here's the setup, and most of the judges might want you to help. So if I were you, I'd pick this and this and this to set up. When you come running in, hey, I'm real good at putting up these signs or whatever, so that I don't get stuck with carrying the heavy stuff.
but I was just wondering, like, at some point, I was used to being able to take a turn on using the poll pad.
All right, well, let me speak to that. You don't get a turn. You should take a turn. The alternate judge has potential power, but they should be filling every role. They are a clerk.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, and so giving out ballots, standing by the machine, any of those jobs, you don't need them to sit with the judge. They don't have that role. That role is, if needed, you step in. And so it really comes out of the preparation that you're doing now and the the exorbitant extra amount of money that you automatically get. But some alternate judges kind of put their feet up, and no, that's not the option. We don't have that many. And this election definitely will not be. We expect a full. Right.
I just wanted to clarify it because it looks like there's a lot of rules that have been written to cover, make sure everything's covered, make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed
Right.
to be doing. and
Well,
not doing.
I wanted to make sure that was on tape for me to say that so that the alternate judges can't say, oh, no, I'm just waiting my turn to. No, you need them doing everything at some point. Okay.
One of the Democrat people expressed concern that they felt like maybe if the Republicans were in charge, that they would relegate them to lesser tasks. And I don't think any of our,
What's a lesser task?
I don't know, maybe standing at the door.
Being a
or-
greeter, basically.
Yeah.
Not having
So-
any, don't touch the equipment and don't get involved in anything else, just.
I haven't heard that any of our judges would do, I mean, I certainly would.
I don't know any of them that do. Most of the people, now, you made a statement that's accurate. You are the judge. All of the judges are Republican. By law, that's the way it is. But in most of the cases, and I can't think of any that would violate what I'm about to say, the Republican and the Democrat have learned to get along with one another, and it doesn't come up. So, and one or the other might be one of those that wears their feelings on the sleeve. I'm sorry, but I cannot mitigate that. If somebody is that, maybe they need to find another way of serving. Okay. Moving right along, safety. Yes.
If we've already turned in all this information, we don't have to write it again tonight, correct?
No, just make sure Kit has what's current from you before you leave tonight. I've given it to, yours should be here as much as you help out.
You need their address, their phone number, and their email.
Yes, yes. Because those things change. I may have them registered on Main Street, they may now be on Austin Street.
So we don't necessarily have their addresses in all cases.
Yeah, we have their
You have,
addresses.
but on this piece, for this.
Yeah, if you don't have their address, but I've got a name or a phone number or an email, we'll connect the dots.
Okay, I can give you names, I can't give you those.
But you got phone numbers, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me that.
I thought our requirements were name, phone number, and email.
We'd like all three, yes.
That's how you contacted them.
Well, I mean, I come from my house, I don't.
Right,
I don't
you don't have it
carry
here,
it
I don't
with me.
have it tonight either, but you mailed it into Jim.
Okay. Let me just say this. I gave a deadline on the 27th of the month to have those in, and I don't have them in, so I created this form to get them in now. So if you can't do it tonight, tomorrow's email is going to include one from you, right? Absolutely. Attaboy. Next thing is the safety and emergency plan. There's a lot of things that could happen to Gillespie County that would affect the election. Fire, if it stays dry and keeps dry all the way in. A bad storm. Ice. We get a February storm like we had. Everything around you is going to fall, or at least around where your house is. We have been working since the first week of August with the emergency management people here in Gillespie County, with the police department, with the sheriff, and on what is called an incident action plan, an IAP, not IPA. The sheriff made sure I understood that. Okay? This will be in the judge's file under emergency management. It's not there now because it won't be completed until almost the election. It will be sometime during early voting. We will have a called meeting for judges only with that plan. It will be a confidential document. Your phone number's not yours. Her phone number The judges' phone numbers are part of the plan. This plan is so thorough that it will have the schedule of the police for the days involved. And so it's a confidential plan. Unfortunately, you won't share it with your alternate. No. Not unless I get straight permission. I'm going to ask that you can share it. But I wouldn't share it unless I thought the storm was coming. If it's a pretty day and things are going fine, because most of it involves 3 numbers, 911. If you have one of your clerks get sick, one of your voters gets sick, you have a car come ripping through your place because they didn't see our signs and they took out your front porch. Whatever it is, most of it's 911. An active shooter turns a new world on. Power outages turns a new world on. If we get a county-wide power outage, we are prepared. Know that. And you are prepared. You may not be aware of that. The machines all have a built-in 2-hour battery storage range. And if we have an outage that is countywide, we are working on a plan that will even designate trucks that are in the maintenance yards and different kinds of things. We're working on all those options. I can't give them to you now because I don't know them all, so that we can have generators at each location, hopefully within that 2-hour time limit. Now, late in the afternoon on November 5th, it's going to be getting dark. We got other issues that could come up. By the way, I'm going to light your parking lot because yours gets dark at night. So we are renting one of those stand light kind of deals that kind of to go up like that. And because it is already a generator, we wouldn't have to worry about Precinct 13 having power. Y'all won't have a problem. Y'all won't have a problem. Your building is going to be pretty good too. We didn't get to your design of your room. I'll get back to that later. So everything that we can think of, we'll have a plan for. And it will be explained to us by the experts, the sheriff, the police, and the emergency management folks. Y'all, I just have to tell you, I met with these guys, and I've known them all, each individually, but sitting down with them together and realizing that they do coordinate way, way more than we know. Even there's a little jealousy back and forth. They don't care about that sort of thing when something goes wrong. They've got an IAP for Oktoberfest. Anything that could happen there, they're prepared for it. So we get the benefit of that, and you will have that, and rather than try and go over it and trying to find little things, there's no point in doing that until we get it finalized. But we will have a meeting and get that explained to you. The other thing I want to talk about, and I think I don't know if I've put these out. Do you all have this on your table? All right, well, I'm going to read it to you. I have copies of it here somewhere. We moved these tables around 3 times today. See if you can find 2429 advisory. David has some of them somewhere. Because electioneering will happen during this thing. There's no doubt about it. What is electioneering? So somebody filed lawsuit to say it's a violation of free speech to have these restrictions on people, what they can wear in a polling place and whatever. I don't know if it was ACLU, whoever, but somebody filed a lawsuit, and one of the judges, you can find a judge, I guess, that can do about anything if you just look far enough, agreed, it has been overruled. Okay? So there's no change in the law, but I want to review for you, and you'll have a copy of this at some point. The first one is the use of firearms. Only one permitted to have a firearm in your location is at law enforcement, and they do not have to be in uniform on duty. Most law enforcement people are always on duty, bottom line, particularly in a county this size. They're not officially, but they might need to respond. I don't know if the specific rule is you got to be packing, but they know what to do with theirs. Yes. Is that the only one we have? Okay, would you give everybody one of those? Now, we got into a discussion last night. Is there any argument with that?
So the only firearms or law enforcement? No.
No, I'm not through it, but I mean, you understand that part of it, right? One of the arguments I got with, everybody that can grab one of those. I had a guy challenge me on the law at Precinct 3, the AgriLife building. Said your signs are not right. He complained that the sign about the guns didn't have the right size, type, and whatever. I want you to look at page 1, second paragraph, beginning, although there is no requirement that you place any sort of signage in the polling place in order to inform voters of the unchanged restrictions regarding hand. If you wish to, you put 740, which is kind of what we've got up there. And the size of type only refers to businesses. Okay? I just let the guy rail because I didn't want to start it, and he had left his gun in the car. He knew the law. He just wanted to get in somebody's face. Okay? Now, what got into the discussion last night, and we did some looking on this, were knives. There's not specific to the election code anything, but there is to the penal code about the size of the knife blade. I think it's excessive. 5.5 inches, right, Kit? A blade that's 5.5 inches is about that long. Now, are there men that come rolling into town with a, yeah, they've probably been out doing hogs or whatever. It's just, it's part of their toolkit, right? If you consider it threatening looking, you might politely ask them to leave it in the car, okay? If they don't do anything about it, don't go making a scene. If they want to make a scene, then you win, okay? No, we don't need that in here. No, but the penal code specifically talks about blades, not the whole knife, blades 5.5 inches. So, you know, we'll have that happen here. There'll be a guy come in, he's put his gun out there, but he's got a regular, fold knife or whatever. Those are blades this long. They can do a lot of damage, but they're not illegal, okay? They might make somebody nervous. Again, the judge can make the call on how to handle that. Next page is electioneering.
So, I'm sorry, before you go to electioneering, I'm back to firearms. So we have.
Oh, I forgot the judge.
Thank you.
I want all the judges packing with 2 guns and a deal. You are allowed as a judge to pack. I would prefer you pack, if you do, concealed, just so it doesn't make anybody unhappy. I love Debbie Russell, who was my alternate when I was doing the early voting, and I just would never tell her when I had my gun on. And otherwise, she would have just been like this. She said, you shouldn't do that. You should. Debbie and I are now really good friends and so forth. But you don't need to, have a big old peacemaker sitting out there that you got from Bat Masterson or something. we have both things going for you. One, your role, and two, we have a ruling from Judge Strayer, who was the judge here before Judge Jones, who made it very clear that it is permitted, though not recommended. You know, that's the, and I have a copy of that. Now, we kind of understand that. This first paragraph is going to really be fun for y'all. Each early voting and election day polling place must be organized with 100-foot distant markers posted at surrounding outside entrances to the building. By the way, if you're using two entrances, figure out from both how far out 100 feet is. Not just the one they come in, but if the one they come out means you need to have them further back over there. And if they're used back entrances to a building, you're going to mark that as well. But anyway, huh? You lost your.
I locked the back
Yeah, okay.
doors and the side doors.
Then you've got control.
Only come up in
Okay.
But some have a building that you might be 100 feet this way, but you need to be 100 feet
Right,
this way.
right,
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
my door's set right here.
Right.
It's these two doors out here that I lock.
Moving on, during the voting period and inside this protected area, it is prohibited to electioneer, including, I'm going to read this slowly, including expressing preference for or against any candidate, measure, or political party, look at what's in bold, regardless of whether they are on the ballot or not, or relating to the conduct of the election.
It's reversing back to what it was about 5 years ago.
Right. The court case that tried to eliminate it all basically reverted it back. They consider electioneering anything that has a political bent. Now, I'm going to tell you, if I were the judge and the guy comes walking in with an I like Ike button, I'm not going to say anything, okay? I could. According to this, I could and should. But if they come rolling in with a Biden hat on, he's not on the ballot, okay? It's not allowed. Obama's not allowed. George Bush is not allowed. No abortion is not allowed. Whatever the political thing is.
Are we required to deal with that, or can we just say, heck with it, nobody cares?
Are you the district judge for the day? Okay. Just know that any complaints do land on you because you made the decision not to enforce it. Or you could do like Kristen out in Precinct 15, and she deals primarily, hats are usually pretty easy. Leave it in the car. I can tell you, if you had somebody come rolling in with a MAGA hat and a Trump thing, you got to do something about it. It's going to cause issues. Same thing if you've got Kamala, I don't know, how do you pronounce it? Kamala. If you had something from there. She has a kind of a nice big button-up shirt. Hands it to him, put that on while you're in here. They don't have to go change it. They don't have to go turn it inside out. Of course, one of the people heard that and said, "Oh, I wouldn't want to put on somebody's stinky old shirt." So,
Well, that'll teach them not to do it.
but she has thought of a way to keep from turning it into this. And know that we have enough people in the county that would do like that guy did with the deal. They're looking for a reason to complain. It's their day to complain. And if they're in line behind that person you cut slack to, they're going to wonder why they couldn't have the gun in. Well, you let him do that. Why didn't you let me do this? The key thing here, though, is not what you do, it's how you do it. Okay? What angers me the most are poll watchers who, knowing they are entitled, act entitled. Knowing that you are entitled by your title doesn't mean you have to act like you're going to have to take them down a notch some way. You're going to have to talk with them about it. You're going to take them aside. You're going to try to keep from turning it into a confrontation. Even if you arrest them, by the way, they get to vote before they leave. That's the law.
If they're allowed at that precinct.
Huh? Well, if they're at that precinct, yeah. If they're there to vote, but they get more and more and more, and you finally just say, I can't control this. It's just beyond me. 911, they come to get him. You're going to have to let him vote before he leaves the place. Again, they do it. So I would say no, you don't cut slack. It's a whole lot easier to let the slack out.
There was another thing about not just the candidates, like having something that's a MAGA hat or having a Harris or
Right.
Wentz hat or something like that. Is the T-shirts or the clothes that the work that some of the people on the campaign, that are working in the
Right.
elections, and also some of the T-shirts that come in that can be really offensive
Right.
against
You know,
a particular candidate.
what is the one, Let's Go Brandon? That's a very offensive shirt. Even though I laughed when I first saw how it was created. It is offensive. That's prohibited. That is part of the political conversation, and the political conversation is not supposed to exist inside this 100-foot. Okay? Now, y'all, you got a job where you're going to have to just do your best to stay calm, but you are in charge. You have authority beyond the authority you have tonight. Okay? And so, giving it away, you'll never get it back. You will never get it back. If the word gets out that now in DOS, they don't really worry about the T-shirts. You can wear anything you want this election. Watch next spring. There'll be everybody wearing it. Will one or two of them slip by and nothing happen? Yeah, it's going to happen that way. I had a guy complain about a car out here during early voting. I told this story last night. Lori will tell you it actually happened. A member of the early voting ballot board came in complaining aloud about somebody's car out there was electioneering because it had all these posters on it. Well, I was doing something. We were delivering ballots, and so I didn't immediately jump up and say, give me my gun, I'm going to go get them. And that offended this particular person, and a little bit later, and it wasn't 30 seconds, well, I guess nobody cares. Okay, I had the constable with me at the time, and we got done. Everybody got their ballots ready, and they were doing their work. And we wandered out to the front, and we stood there trying to find this car. Well, maybe it's left. And then I looked, and I saw the car sitting beside the car of the complainer, which meant he was parked where voters would be instead of where clerks should be. Just saying. And it had one little bumper sticker on it. I live in Fredericksburg, and I vote Democrat. And then in the back window you could hardly see a Biden sticker. I'm not going to do anything about that. That's not what I would consider like our friend with all the flags that drives around, okay? That person has parked here across the street. That's legal. He's outside the 100 feet, as long as he's not using amplification or whatever. And I stood there and looked at it, and I thought, okay, let's wait for this voter to come out. I just want to know. And we stood there, and the voter never came back out. And voters went in and came back out. And finally I looked at Ken and I said, that's got to be a worker. Okay. And then it dawned on me who it was. Because and I knew it was on this side of the room because it was the primary. Democrats were here, Republicans were here. And I walked back in and I went over to this lady and I said, you've got a beautiful white Mercedes parked there. Yeah? Okay. Would you move it? She was also parked where the voters park. And we tell our clerks here, outside the fire lanes, leave this to the voter. She jumped right up, went and moved it and whatever. In the meantime, this guy had come to move his car because somebody had told him, I had called over there, that he was parked in the wrong place. When he came out, he actually filmed her car. Now, when you get that caught up in, and that's what we have. So you'll make your decision, you'll do the best you can with it, and I'll back you. I will tell you that. You are in charge. I may throw you pie in your face after we're done, but anyway, no. But it is a tough job. Now, we've kind of wandered off the point here. You have some other stuff here. You can take this with you tonight. We get these all the time, just so you know. This is the 29th one I've gotten this year from the Secretary of State Election Advisory, 2024-29. Christina Worrell Atkins is one of the neatest ladies you'll ever want to meet. And she just is all kinds of pleasant. Now, we've all been sitting too long, and we're getting ready to do some work. We'll do the work in 3 ways. I'd like everybody to come up here to where this duo is, and we're going to bring it up and let you vote on it. I want to explain it to you. And do know for all of your clerks, we will show them